Michael, I think I got a podcast in me. I'm already kind of exhausted, but I think I got one more podcast in me.
Everyone has a podcast in them.
Yeah,
if they try hard enough.
I was talking to you earlier this week about it's just like I look around at all the other podcasts that I listen to, and it's like, hey, here's two guys, and they're gonna like pick one topic, talk about it for like 30 minutes, and then it's over. I was like, you sons of bitches. No, I don't know. I don't see anybody trying to do this stupid shit that I try to do every week.
Well,
like,
it's always weird when you run into a podcast that's 30 minutes long.
Yeah,
and you're like, "Fuck you! That's not a podcast. That's like a conversation
it's a
I could
YouTube
get
video
anywhere kind of thing." I download podcasts because I have 4 hours to kill.
Yep,
and kind of thing.
Yeah, can you imagine getting on a plane without the RageSelect podcast, like a 15-minute podcast? No 15-minute podcast. There's barely any news this week, and I still think I got too much news this week. So, welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast. Here, RageSelect. I'm Jeff,
and I'm Mike.
Yeah. I looked at the news that came out this week, and I was like, oh, nothing happened. And then I got done like opening up all my tabs, and I was like, I've got like 70 tabs. What the fuck?
Some of them are probably duplicates, to be fair.
That's true.
They're just like added. They're addendums or whatever the fuck you call them.
Yeah, I need to stop opening the same story 4 times because I don't like to have the same 2 websites for a story right next to each other because I've got some kind of like OCD. So when I open up all my news tabs, I want it to go like Kotaku, Polygon, PC Gamer, VG Gamer. I don't want it to just be like Kotaku. I don't want 2 Kotakus touching.
Yeah,
because then it's like Puzzle Fighter. They're going to cancel each other out. They're just going to close. Everyone knows that's how it works when you have a lot of tabs open.
No, it's true. That's why you have to trust your sources by getting more sources.
Yes.
Which then turns into a giant chunk of tabs.
Yes. So yeah, we do have some news this week, even though it was pretty light. Next week is it's weird. We usually record the podcast on Thursdays. I'm doing a lot of admin this week. We usually do the podcast on Thursdays. The Game Awards are on Thursday next week.
Oh, is that next week?
That's next week. That. So, and that usually happens in the evening. So I think that we'll probably next week we'll do like everything up to the Game Awards, and then the week after we'll come back and we'll fucking crack down on the world premiere trailers. World premiere.
We'll see if Jeff Keighley kills that kid who comes up this time.
If he just pulls out a gun this time and shoots that kid.
He's like Bill Clinton sends his guards and shoots him.
Yeah. But before we get to that, let's see. So, you know, every week I like to watch a movie. I like to try to watch like a show or a movie or whatever. I think that the only thing that counts as like new this week was they put out 2 new episodes of Aqua Teen Hunger Force that didn't suck.
Wait, did that new season start?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it's on Max too. Like they just put it right on Max.
I have something I have to do later.
No, those were fine. But I was tired of watching mediocre movies just because they're brand new, so I could talk about them and put them in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So I went back to like 2019 and just looked on Metacritic for like what were the best movies of 2019. Looked for the ones I hadn't watched yet, and I told you about this already. I watched One Cut of the Dead, something that everybody's been telling me to watch since 2019 when it first came out.
Well, people were telling me to watch it before it even came out because of the Fantastic Fest. I assume it was Fantastic Fest,
probably
because
it's like half of the people we know go
to this festival, but they also go to other festivals sometimes. But I remember Chris and them constantly being like, you have to watch One Cut of the Dead.
Yep.
I'm like, what is that? What is it on? They're like, well, it's not on anything yet. And it's like, well, why are you fucking telling me to watch this fucking movie?
It's not on anything. And they're like, well, what's it about? Like, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Like, who's in it? Nobody. What?
Like, you're not. How long is it? I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it.
Actually, I know the answer to that because it's like 90 minutes. Because I was looking for actually. Maybe it's not 90 minutes.
I thought it was like 90-ish minutes.
I thought it was 90 minutes.
It's been a while.
Anyway, okay. I'm going to be a little bit more. I'm gonna add my voice to the voices and say, okay, so if anybody's listening to this who hasn't seen and or heard of One Cut of the Dead, this is my pitch to you. For anybody who has seen it, just shut up. Just shut up for a minute. Not you. Not just
don't look at me.
Talking to the audience.
You're looking at Archer. Telling Archer to be quiet.
So, if you like horror movies, and if you like movies, and those are 2 different things, you should watch One Cut of the Dead. It starts out as kind of like a zombie movie, but things happen, and I want to say, like, I think it's so weird because sometimes I need somebody to tell me the twist, or else I won't bother to watch a thing.
No, I get it. There's some things where you're like, well, it starts off as this thing you don't like at all,
right?
And then eventually becomes this thing you'll really like. It's
right.
like, well, I don't really know if I want to know about it before the twist.
Yes. So it's really interesting because like the first 30 minutes are definitely like a weird horror movie that's all shot in one take, but then like where it goes from there is so charming that I'm like, I want to recommend it to people who maybe don't even like horror movies because it's not especially graphic, it's not super duper scary, and where it goes is really interesting and like and fun and satisfying.
You know what movie I think is the epitome of that sort of idea of I would rather know the twist a little ahead of time.
Yeah,
it's Cabin in the Woods. Because I remember when Cabin in the Woods came out, everybody was just like, well, just watch it because it's this horror thing. And I was like, I'm not really in the mood for horror right now kind of thing. So I didn't watch it for a while until I was at somebody's house. And they're like, we're going to watch Cabin in the Woods. It's like, oh, yeah, sure, I guess. And I was like, oh, wait, this movie's amazing. How come nobody fucking told me, like, this awesome twist that happens? Like, well, because that's the fun of it. And I was like, well, fuck, dude, I would have watched it ahead of time.
The other problem with One Cut of the Dead is that the thumbnail, like the movie poster for it, is kind of crappy. Like,
it's very generic.
It looks very crappy. Like, you would look at it and go like, next. Like, you would skip right over it. But it's on Shudder. If you got Shudder, it's good. Ask somebody that's seen it; they'll vouch for it. Like, I don't know. I don't think I've heard of anybody that was just like, fuck that movie, I didn't like it very much. So
the only people I have didn't get past the first chunk of it.
Oh,
is usually what happens.
Okay,
because they don't want to stick in with it, and that's usually what happens with us.
Yeah. No, but it was good. I liked it. It was clever. It was creative. It was what I want out of a horror movie. It was probably the best horror movie I've seen this year. Even though it didn't come out this year.
I was about to say.
I don't know.
It's the best movie I've seen of the 2019.
I liked Evil Dead Rise, but I probably like if this movie. I liked that movie more. This movie more than Evil Dead Rise. Like Evil Dead Rise was good. This was more creative, and I really value creativity.
I can't blame you.
So.
It's just that it can't. Yeah, like I think Evil Dead's the best horror movie this year.
Yeah,
but that came out this year. If that makes sense. To
I don't
the
know.
audience.
Everybody else loves Talk to Me. I was like, I don't fucking. It didn't do nothing. It didn't do nothing for me.
You know what I forgot about Talk to Me?
What's that?
Talk to Me is directed by these two YouTubers I used to watch years ago,
and they're like super bro dudes. They're super bro dogs.
Yeah,
so
and
like...
all their videos are about beating the shit out of each other, which is why it caught me off guard when I realized it was them who made that movie.
Whenever you see like promotional stills for it, it's just these two fucking like goofy looking frat dudes.
Yeah, one of their most like famous videos is a video where like Cookie Monster breaks into their house and starts beating the shit out of them for their cookies.
Okay.
Like that's literally the entire video.
2004 YouTube.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos they do like that. And apparently they're going to make a Street Fighter movie last I heard. I don't remember if that's still happening.
Okay.
But I actually would like to see a Street Fighter movie by those guys because their fight stuff is really funny.
Hey, after the Mortal Kombat movie, you can't get any lower.
That's true.
Can't get any lower than that. So
no, well, there's Annihilation. But at least that one had actual Liu Kang as the hero.
At least Annihilation was so bad that you can get drunk and put it on and laugh at it.
That's
there was
true.
Nothing to laugh at with fucking bargain basement OC,
especially with
armor.
Scorpion yelling out suckers and then leaving.
Yeah.
In Annihilation.
That was weird.
That movie's great. It's great for the wrong reasons.
Yes. How about you, Michael? Did you watch anything? You play anything? You do anything interesting this last week?
I've just been playing a lot of Mario RPG.
Oh, okay. Have you not finished that yet? It's like 12 hours.
Well, I've been like just murdering everything I come across, and so I'm like over leveling,
grinding in Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, so I've been doing that. I just remember the other thing that I've been doing.
What's that?
Which is I've been playing Lethal Company with my whole high school friends.
Yeah, everybody's talking about that
because for you guys, I don't remember if I've told on Mike because I have a gaming PC now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to get, and this was like the day after Thanksgiving. I was talking to my friends on Facebook. And I was like, hey, I have a PC game, or I have a PC now, what should I play? And my friend Hector immediately is just like, Lethal Company. You got to play Lethal Company with me. And I was just like, what is that? And he's like, oh shit. So he tells me what it is. I had seen clips of it on Twitter, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And so I played it with him, and it's the hardest I've laughed at a game in a while.
All right.
Not because the game is funny, it's because of the things that happen to you and your friends. And it's so fucking funny because the way the game works is that the mics or the voice chat works based on proximity by default.
Sure.
So if he's in another room, I can't hear him, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can buy walkies and eventually in the game, so you can like talk to them from a farther distance.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it's just me and him hanging out, and then me falling in the holes. And whenever you die, they can't hear you anymore. So I just abruptly die, and he's like, Mike," or he'll abruptly die, kind of thing.
Yeah.
At one point, once we got the walkies, it was another friend of ours joined us, and we're at a distance, and I'm like, Hector. He's like, "What? There's a ghost girl standing in front of me. What do I do?" Because he'd been playing the game longer than I had, and he's like, "Run." I was like, "Are you sure?" I'm afraid to walk backwards because I think she'll get me.
Are you just doing the scene from Ghostbusters?
I did, and
she's looking right at me.
That was the thing, because he didn't hear, because there was like a giggle, and I was like, "Did you hear?" Because originally I was like, "Did you hear that giggle?" He's like, "What giggle?" And he's like, "Oh shit, there's somebody." There's something that's happening right now, but I don't know if it's happening or not. And I was like, okay. And so when I saw the ghost girl, and I was just like, there's a ghost girl standing in front of me.
This is why gamers are going to get killed in droves if we ever have to do anything for reals.
It was really funny, because he told me, because after I died, because eventually she got me because I couldn't find the exit, because everything's procedurally generated, so nothing's the same. But you have to memorize like which way you went if you want to get back out, or find like the second exit.
Yeah,
I couldn't find either. And then when I found the second exit, I didn't have a key to open the door to get to the second exit.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, I'm going to die. And so of course I died. And then it turns out when you die, it chases the next person, and then if they die, it chases the next person.
Okay. And
so it was just really funny, because I was just laughing so hard, because all they heard was me like yell really loud when it finally came for me, and they're like, "Yep, I got Mike."
All right, yeah,
it's
I don't
so
know.
much fun.
Much fun. Somebody was asking in the comments for us to check that out. I'm starting to, guys. I don't. I don't know if I got Just Dance in me this year. This might have to be another 2020 where we all try to get together and play Lethal Company instead of doing Just Dance, because
it's up to 4 as far as I know, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, let's jump right into it, because normally I'd be like, we got time to spare. We never have time to spare.
We never have time, especially when me and him are like,
yeah, pretty much.
Is there anyone who's ever done the podcast like in the actual time frame?
Right at 2 hours?
Yeah.
I don't see. I feel like since the pandemic happened, like the news doubled. Like before that, I feel like we were coming in.
We never did.
Yeah.
Me and you never did.
Yeah.
So I feel like Tess has done it.
Maybe. Anyway, this week
I know Chris has done it.
We have a Dragon's Dogma 2 showcase to kick off with.
Yes.
So Capcom put out. This was great, Michael. This was 13 minutes.
Oh wow!
Like, it was not long. It was not fucking 2 hours of rambling.
45 minutes of them being like, "And now look at this."
Yep. And there's only a couple things in here, so we can kind of go over it. I don't know. Dragon's Dogma 2 is looking pretty fly, man.
It looks better the more I see of it.
Yeah. The engine looks like it's definitely gotten an upgrade. I mean, I'm assuming this is an RE engine because it's Capcom. And again, I'll just say this for the millionth time. I don't know who at Capcom sacrificed what kind of animal to make the RE engine run as well as it does and look as well as it does, but it kind of kicks everything's ass.
Like, I'm always shocked that they're like, well, we're thinking of making an even better engine. I'm like, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah. Well, it was so impressive because it was always really good looking, but then it also ran at a really high frame rate.
On anything.
On everything.
Any type of game.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
King's a PS4 engine, man.
Yeah. It's like, how did you do that?
So, but yeah, they started off with a little trailer that was a lot of like just Dragon-y, Dogma-y dragons showing off just, you know, the kind of same shit that we've seen before. Monsters, action, adventure, some kingdom bullshit.
Adventure is out there.
It kind of ends with this. Also, there's this one shot. I'm sorry, Michael, you're the only person I know who could appreciate this. But there's this one shot in here. Did I pass it again? Where it's like a giant harpy like comes down. I swear to God, it looks exactly like a scene when Garuda went crazy in Final Fantasy 16.
No, that was my first thought when I saw
exactly. I've seen this scene before with the giant feather lady coming down to menace me.
And like a lot of furries, I'm sure they all said would.
Yes. So yeah, this kind of ends with this giant, kind of like a colossus, like Colossus of Rhodes almost, like kind of standing up.
It's like a Spartan made out of nonsense.
Yep.
It's like a mech.
So the big thing here was this first trailer announced the release date, March 22nd.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yep. Which is not too far away. And then they kind of showed off like fighting this giant thing. You're going to have to fight this giant thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of more like Shadow of the Colossus.
It looks like it's got a nipple cannon, or am I going crazy?
It's got a bunch of spikes in it that are the weak points. So the characters will try to jump on it and shoot arrows and ballistas and stuff on the points. And it looks like it's kind of like walking in a line kind of towards like an objective.
Yeah.
And that people are, they're kind of jumping onto it, or they're grabbing these like birds and riding them over. And then they're kind of trying to get over to these little nips, these little crystal nips, and hack off them crystal nips.
Straight up on its nip.
Yep.
Like straight up.
Yep. But this is like
excited.
This is way bigger than anything in Dragon's Dogma 1.
No, but also it's like not a monster. It's like it's like
an automaton.
Yeah, it's like got smoke coming out of its head.
Yep.
Like it's clearly like a mech of some kind.
But I like the way the smoke is coming out of it's like a Spartan helmet.
Yeah.
So the red smoke is coming out of it like the feather would on the back of the helmet.
Like it's really cool, and you can see like the vents at it if you look really close to it.
Yeah.
And so even if it's not on, it still has that feather look.
Mm-hmm.
It's bleeding like crazy though somehow.
Yeah, they managed to chop out one of the things. So yeah, I like this. I like the idea here of, and then it looks like these birds just fly around it because you can jump and grab the birds and then like get on it.
That's really cool.
And they showed like early on a ballista, but then also it does stuff like it's destroying pieces of the map as it walks. Like we saw earlier, it bashed like a bridge.
That's so cool.
And here like threw a giant javelin at a bridge. So like it seems like there's a lot of interactivity, and I'm like, wow, you guys stepped it up, because it kind of had like smaller beasts. I mean, like 3 times the size of your guy beasts in the last one, but this is like,
well, they're all like dragons and stuff. Like they were all creatures of some kind,
manticores and hippogriffs and shit like that. So yeah, they talk a little bit about the story, about how you've got, I forget what they call the guy that's like the Chosen or whatever. It's not the Chosen, it's something else.
Chosen One.
It's because the whole point. What is it? What are they called? They're called like not the Shard Bearers. What the fuck was it called? I don't even remember. Arisen. Yeah, the Arisen. So they got like these 2 kingdoms. One is basically Game of Thrones, and in Game of Thrones, the Queen Regent has put like a fake Arisen on the throne that all the pawns, which are kind of like these like the spirit warriors, are following for some reason, and you don't know why. And then like in the Beast Man kingdom, they hate Arisen, and they worship the fire, and so there's going to be like different stories based on.
So when you mentioned they worship the fire, my first thought was that episode of BoJack where they're all stuck under Mr. Peanut Butter's house.
Oh yes,
and like was Jessica Biel loses her shit, and they're like, we're all going to worship the fire, and they set fire to the Zach Braff.
Yeah,
that's immediately my first thought.
But yeah, they look like they definitely got some. They definitely look like they got some of that Game of Thrones in there, but that's not entirely like that's not.
Well, it's just an old kind of medieval type of like evil time frame, if that makes sense.
Game of Thrones didn't come up with that.
No, they didn't. They just came up with a lot of putting it on television and making incest cool, apparently,
and making it like really, really, really complicated. Like I think of when Final Fantasy 16 started, and I was like, what is any of this? I don't understand what any of it. Like you tell me like, oh, we got the Kingdom of People, and then we got the Beastmen Kingdom, and I'm like, cool, got it. It's like you don't have to remember who has which Eidolon and the fucking.
I lost track of stuff in Final Fantasy 16.
Yep,
but like luckily they had the encyclopedia thing that when a character was in a room, you could be like, who are you again? Right. Like, they're with so-and-so. And I'm like, but who was that? And then it would like bring that up.
The active time like encyclopedia or whatever it was.
Great. It was the best thing I've ever seen in an RPG.
Yeah. They show a little bit of a quest where you go to the elf kingdom, and you're trying to rescue like the girl from an ogre. It's very truncated. The one thing that's kind of interesting here is that I don't know if you saw it early on where the you see the subtitles there. Like the elves have their own language, and if you have a pawn like in your party that speaks Elvish, then you can like use them to translate. Otherwise, you're not going to know what the fuck they're talking about.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's like a character trait for one of your pawns. Because I don't know how familiar people are with Dragon's Dogma, but like you can recruit these pawns, and a lot of times you make like your primary one, but then it also pulls from other people's games. It'll pull pawns in. And you can like recruit them and dismiss them to basically build your own party.
Just always one of the weirder things about Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
Because everybody was wondering if it would be a multiplayer game, because that was one of the things people kind of were hoping for. And then it turns out it wasn't. And, you know, that's not always a bad thing in this day and age where, like, you definitely need, like, somebody to have fun with the game kind of thing. So, I'm glad that that's ironically a single-player game.
They show the character creator that looks hella detailed.
Yeah. They've gotten really good with their character creators with the RE engine.
Yep.
Between this and Street Fighter 6, I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And what? I mean, I guess it wasn't as detailed, but like Monster Hunter
has a pretty good one.
Character creation engine that was...
They've gotten a lot better with them because they used to be very generic, but you can make a much better one nowadays.
I like that they've got the thing that I've seen in a few games where it's like you could pick a face and then be like, give me like 9 versions of that.
That is much nicer to have.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, just this is the only one that has like skin that's kind of like yours.
And then
the ugliest fucking guy you've ever seen in your life.
Let's see. The last thing they showed was a new class that was different. That was called the Trickster.
Oh, okay.
That only the Arisen can be. That creates it creates duplicates and doubles and stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
And it can also buff your pawns. And your primary thing is like a censer, like a brazier with smoke coming out of it.
That Catholic smoke thing.
Yeah,
where you're just blessing people.
It's really fucking weird. And then you could summon like rocks and dragons and shit. Like
that's really cool actually.
And all the while you're just spinning the little smoke bomb around in the air.
That's fucking cool.
So, and you know what? That was pretty much it.
Yeah,
like that was
cool.
They talked about they've got the deluxe edition that has like a bunch of other bullshit, and then the fucking pre-order bonus, the deluxe edition, the fucking other edition. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it was just that standard ass pre-order nonsense.
Okay.
Because I believe it went up for pre-order. Oh, they also showed a couple of other bosses. They showed this. I think it's like Haruspex, where it's kind of like a headless horseman.
Oh, that's
got
cool.
Its head in its hand. And this like dragon. So yeah, I don't know, man. It looks pretty good. Like it looks pretty solid. Capcom's kind of been on a roll recently with.
People are saying the Cap God is back.
Yeah,
which hasn't been a thing for a very long time.
Oh, also, they put the original Dragon's Dogma on sale.
Oh, that's nice.
So I think that it's like $30 or $20 or something.
It's a very good game, and I think people should try it.
The main issue that I have with it is I went and looked it up. I actually installed it on my PlayStation. There's not like they never put out like a next gen version, so it's just the PS4. Xbox Series X or Xbox One X, kind of like those versions of it. So
okay,
but yep, yeah. So that's Dragon's Dogma, looking pretty cool. I recommend everybody go take a look. I also like the fact that Capcom likes to put out short, to the point things. No rambling.
Yeah, well, it varies.
Well, I guess some of the Monster Hunter ones were
one where it was just like. Look at all this nonsense that we already heard about.
I think that was for like people that watch E3 but don't look at IGN's website every day of the week.
Well, it was Game Fest or whatever, right? Because E3 didn't even happen this year.
Yeah, Summer Games Fest. You remember that one where they just said there's going to be DLC for Resident Evil Village?
Oh yeah, there wasn't.
We'll
even
just talk
else.
about it someday in the future.
They didn't even say anything else. They're like DLC will happen.
Yep.
Later.
That was the most disappointing one because it was like, here's a bunch of shit you already knew about, and then at some point later in the future we'll talk about Resident Evil Village.
Yeah. Same with the Monster Hunter thing.
Okay. Let's jump into some more stuff. We got a bunch of images from Amazon's Fallout series,
which are pretty good looking.
Yeah, we see some of the power armor looks like big and chunky. I like that.
Like I saw an image where it's like a bunch of power armors next to each other.
Yeah, this one looks pretty cool. The one thing that I'm a little okay, I do have some criticisms. Walton Goggins is a ghoul.
Okay.
And they have a picture of him as a ghoul, and he just looks like Deadpool. He just looks like
I thought he looked like the Red Skull.
Or the Red Skull. He just looks like he got his nose cut off and then like got acid splashed in his face or something. Like ghouls are supposed to be like they're like rotting. They're like zombies, right?
I think the main issue is this probably was hard for like their budget, probably.
Maybe. I also wonder if Walton Goggins was like, no one's. You can cover up some of my pretty face, but you're not going to make it look like the skin is just falling off of my face. Like I just want somebody to spritz him with some Alfredo sauce, like just a little, throw some macaroni in his face. Maybe throw some cold cuts up in there. I can fix you up.
Well, he reminds me of some of the goals from 4, I think, is the thing. Because 4 had some goals that weren't exactly like completely rotty.
He's just not wet enough. He needs to be wetter.
I can see that,
He
though.
needs to be wetter.
Needs to be moist.
We got a picture of the main character like leaving the vault, getting out of the vault, looking out onto the some kind of junkyard by the vault. I didn't know Kyle MacLachlan was going to be like the vault overseer.
I didn't know that either. But when I saw the image, I was like, "Ooh, Kyle MacLachlan's in this."
Yeah. Also, you can see the Pip Boys. They look pretty good.
Yeah, they did a really good job at making this look just like the game series.
There's one thing that I wish that they had kind of a picture, a bunch of people looking at an airship and like old production photo. The one thing that I don't quite like, and I don't know if it's just because the production stills, I need to see more. I want them to turn down the saturation a little bit and put that piss filter on the camera because Fallout's supposed to be like post radioactive Fallout, and like those are some green ass trees behind these guys. Like
that's the tricky thing is that because a lot of people will either overdo it or underdo it.
Yeah,
and it's hard to tell when it should be doing it.
I want the nuclear bomb. Like this one looks pretty good, but there's a lot of saturated colors in here, and I really associate Fallout with a very. I mean, not even just Fallout, but like Mad Max and
oh yeah, Mad Max very much has that filter.
Tickety post-apocalyptic movies from the 80s. They always turn the saturation down, or they put the Mexico filter on it, like
the good old Mexico filter. I remember when the smoke happened near New York, and they're like, they turned on the Mexican filter to New York. Holy shit!
Yeah. That's a joke, by the way. I think that they shouldn't use that filter. I want people to think that this is me endorsing the Middle East / Mexico piss filter for whenever you need to make somewhere look scary and different in your movie. But
I think they should, just because it would be funny.
I mean, as long as when you go to Eastern Europe, then they put the blue filter, then they put the Russia filter on. The
Russia filter comes up.
Czechoslovakia and Eastern Europe and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Like all the production stuff looks all right. It's a little clean and sharp, but you know what? These are all production stills, right? Who knows what kind of post-processing is going to go into it when it actually gets.
That's the thing is we've seen instances where like this is the screenshot of what this is, and you're like, well, that looks good on paper, but how does it look in movement? And then sometimes it's like, oh, it looks great in movement, and sometimes you're like, oh, it looks fucking horrendous in movement.
Yeah,
you never really know until you see a trailer.
Yeah. They could put a lot more like digital haze and smoke and stuff.
The Halo show was like that. When you saw stills, you're like, this show looks like it'll be pretty good.
And then it wasn't. Womp womp. I didn't even watch it. I don't know why I'm giving my opinion. I didn't watch it.
Well, the beginning is like fine, but then it's just like it's obvious they didn't care about the series at all once you get through it.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm hoping that Fallout doesn't run into that issue.
Well, it's being run by Jonathan Nolan? I don't remember. Yeah, because that was what this picture is. That's who that is.
Oh, okay.
Is Jonathan Nolan, who did like Westworld and that stuff.
Oh, well, it's got a good shot then.
So I don't know. Hopefully Jonathan like writes like a whole series and not just like one season of ain't I clever, boys? Because I would like to see. I mean, a Fallout series would be great. There's a lot of places you could go, a lot of stuff you could do. So.
I hope Todd Howard shows up and just sells the same thing over and over again to the Pit Boy or the Fallout person.
He's just the shopkeeper.
Yeah, I have Skyrim in every form here.
I do kind of wish sometimes that Fallout wouldn't always move to a new place for every story. I miss Moira from 3. I miss her.
That's fair.
I miss that even if you blow up Megaton, she's still just standing in the middle of that rubble giving you fetch quests to do. Yeah.
She's resilient.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. It looks all right. Go check out those Pickney Picks. In other movie/TV/entertainment news, I put this one on there for all you fucking nerds. Sonic 3 has started filming. We got a picture of a foot. Michael, there's a picture of a foot on the internet. Alert the media. Stop the presses.
So did I ever tell you the story of when I watched Sonic 2 the first time?
What? No.
So when I watched Sonic 2 for the first time, I was me, Martin, and I forgot who else was there. I know Mike was there and somebody else. But the reason I bring up Martin specifically is what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
So if you guys, for people who haven't seen Sonic 2, spoilers real quick, the ending reveals that Shadow the Hedgehog is the thing.
Sure.
I started laughing uncontrollably. I was crying from laughter. And Martin was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was just like, the crazy bastards did it. The crazy fucking bastards did it is all I kept saying. Because I was like, I live in a world where Shadow the Hedgehog
is going to be in a movie.
The crazy fucking bastards did it. Is all I kept saying.
Yep.
And that's what I feel about this still.
Yep.
That I can't believe I live in a world where Shadow the Hedgehog will be in a big blockbuster movie in theaters. Before any huge, before Solid Snake or anybody like that will be in a big blockbuster, Shadow the fucking Hedgehog.
They got three of these.
They got three
of these motherfuckers.
It's insane.
I feel like it was yesterday that we were talking about the teeth on him in the first one. And now it's like, well, we're starting the filming on part 3 with these Shadow the Hedgehog and his edgelord fucking sneakers with all the cyber shit on it.
I hope he gets a gun. I really do. There's another thing a lot of old fans are hoping for, which is that his backstory is like a tragic backstory because he has he befriends a little girl who gets shot, and everyone's like, they better shoot that girl.
Of course,
that's all I'm saying. And so I'm completely dumbfounded.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Between this and Beetlejuice 2 apparently having finished filming, I feel like I live in a crazy world because neither of those things should exist in my opinion.
I feel like sometimes I worry that I'm getting old and I'm not as sharp as I used to be, and I'm just I'm out of original ideas. I was thinking the other day, I was like, I should get my drawing pad back out, and what would I even draw? And it's it's good to know that everybody's on the same page as me, where they're just I don't know, just rehash whatever the old thing was.
What's old is new again.
Yeah.
Full circle again.
Fucking Shadow the Hedgehog foot.
I was laughing because
I haven't even watched the first one.
I watched them both quite a few times. The Paramount Plus accidentally, or the Paramount tweet accidentally said 2023 instead of 2024.
Oh,
and everyone was like, "You're filming the movie and it's supposed to come out in 3 weeks." Are you sure?
Yeah, man. It's just plugins. We just put those plugins in, and boom, good to go.
Yeah, it cracked me up.
Yep. Shadow the Hedgehog is going to be in a movie.
It's real.
I don't know.
One Piece is real.
I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, there's a live action One Piece that came out that's not bad.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
What the thing this year, Zom 100 the anime started airing, and at the same time there was a live action Zom 100 show on Netflix.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Because I was like, oh, Zom 100, I'm watching that on Crunchyroll. Wait, why is that all live action? And I was like, what is happening? I don't understand. Because as near as I can tell, it's not like that was out in Japan before. They just did 2 simultaneous productions and put them both out at the same time.
That's crazy.
What?
That's fucking crazy to me.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. From there,
oh God, I heard about this one. I've read them too, and it's just sad.
All right, let's talk some shit about Starfield.
Let's talk shit about Todd Howard.
Let's not talk shit about Starfield. Let's talk shit about why did I put Sonic the Hedgehog in between Fallout and Starfield?
Because it was television live action related,
right? But I could have done Shadow first and then Fallout and then gone right into Star. I'm all discombobulated. Anyway,
well, if we were Shadow the Hedgehog, we could reverse time or whatever.
That's right.
I don't remember what his power set is anymore.
Shoot time right in the face until it does what I tell it to.
Ride a motorcycle with a bazooka in your hand.
So yeah, things are weird. Starfield finally came out on Steam. It was in beta, the DLSS patch, it came out, etc., etc. Now, apparently this isn't brand new, but the last time this happened was You guys got to think back to when Fallout 76 came out. You remember how when Fallout 76 came out, every week on RageSelect we had some kind of bullshit story
every time.
You remember how there was like the help desk to unban people made them write like a personal essay about why they shouldn't be unbanned? Well, whoever came up with that idea has decided to start arguing with people in the Steam comments.
He's writing his own essays,
telling. When people say, I didn't like Starfield, it was boring, going like, no, it isn't. Like, if you look, there's thousands of planets, and you can land on any of them. You can do whatever you want to. You know what you should try is try making a new character and then see how that plays. You're going to see it's totally different, and you're going to have a million funds. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to browbeat people into? I mean, I know.
Well, like,
but
it's not so much like why. It's like, why so many of them?
Right.
Because it's not like there's like one. It's not one giant blog post that's like, hey, by the way, guys, here's like what we think. We heard your criticisms, and here's everything. It's going to people's specific reviews, and then going, no.
Here, let me give you guys an example. Here's somebody that wrote a review, and they said, the story is as generic as it gets, and the gameplay gets boring. I wish there was a reason to even bother exploring planets and building outposts. Everything is fun until you do it once, then it's all repeating. It's all a repeating soulless chore. The response from Bethesda,
and it's longer than the guy's review, by the way,
is greetings. Thank you for taking the time to leave a review for Starfield. You can fly and you can shoot, you can mine, you can loot. Starfield is an RPG with hundreds of hours of quests to complete and characters to meet. Most quests will also vary on your character's skills and decisions, massively changing the outcome of your playthrough. Try creating different characters with backgrounds and characteristics that clash or are opposite of your previous character. You'll feel like you're playing a totally new game. Put points in different skills from a character you previously created, and you're now faced with completely different decisions to make and difficulties to encounter. There's so many layers to Starfield that you will find things that you never knew were possible after playing for hundreds of hours. Even after completing the main story, your adventure doesn't end. You can continue on to New Game Plus to keep exploring Starfield and all that's out there. Never stop exploring. Bethesda customer support. What is that? What is that?
That's not even the worst one.
Yes,
in my opinion.
Oh, is it the one where it's like they're talking about the loading screen? Yeah.
No, I think it's that one.
Yeah. They talk about how whenever you go to a different place, it's like it shows a loading screen. They talk about how it's just like a series of loading screens to get to a planet, and they're like, yeah, but you get to see the outside of your ship whenever you see that screen, and then you get to see all the customization that you did. Isn't that so fun?
That's the second worst one to me. The worst one is the Empty Planets one.
Oh. You take this one.
The Empty Planets one is so fucking funny.
Yep.
Because the guy's just like, there's thousands of planets, but they're boring because there's nothing there. And they're like, it's not boring because the astronauts went to like space and they weren't bored when they went to the moon and there was nothing there.
Right.
It's just like they were in real space. That's why they weren't bored.
Here it is. Some of Starfield planets are meant to be empty by design, but that's not boring. When the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there. They certainly weren't bored.
That quote specifically is the worst part of the entire thing.
The intention of Starfield's exploration is to evoke a feeling of smallness in players and make you feel overwhelmed. You can continue to explore and find worlds that do have resources you need or hidden outposts to look through. It's like, guys, listen, you're not doing yourself any fucking favors here.
It's
like,
so much worse. That argument doesn't make any sense.
Well, also, it's like, okay, it's also, I mean, I'm 45 years old and I've been on the internet for a long time, but like, Michael, if you come to me and you say, Jeff, I don't like broccoli, and I'm like, broccoli's great. Oh, it's so good. Like, you roast it, you put some oil in your nose. It's like, well, I don't like it. And I'm like, no, you put cheese on it. It's green. Look how green it is. It's so green. It's delicious. You can put it on you can eat it raw or cooked. You put it on purple. It's like, I still don't like broccoli. And I'm like, no, you're just not thinking about it the right way. You can't argue somebody into liking something.
Well, there's the version of that argument for this example is if I kept saying I don't like broccoli, but then you went, but the Pilgrims, when they discovered broccoli,
right,
they loved it, kind of thing.
You think of all the time,
it's like what
that went into cultivating Brassica raceya to make it into broccoli, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to eat it.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. Like, I didn't plant the broccoli and make it myself. I don't have a sense of accomplishment for doing that. Like, that's what they're saying. It's like, well, you're in space, like when the astronauts were literally in space doing the first step for mankind, something that's never happened before. It's the same as playing a procedurally generated empty planet. You're like, are you fucking serious?
I'm not in space. I'm on my house.
Yeah. It's like, guys, this isn't like, I'm not Fry on the fucking moon
Right.
amusement park.
Yeah.
Because at least he's literally on the moon and just disappointed by the moon.
Oh, you know what?
There's a difference between those two.
Hey, you know what? One of the first quests in Starfield, you go to the moon, and I'll be honest, it was cool. I landed on the moon. I looked up at the Earth. I was like, fuck, I'm on the moon. I saw the moon. I saw the landing thing. I was like, that's great. That's one planet. That's one moon. Like, and then I go to like some foreign fucking moon, and there's just a bunch of like weird settlers that can never take off their spacesuits there. And I'm like, do you have anything? Can I buy something from you? And they're like, no. Can I steal your shit? And they're like, no. Like, is there anything to do around here? And they're like, no. And I'm like, cool beans, everybody.
Cool. I'm gonna go.
Starfield.
Yeah, and there's a lot of planets like that. Starfield, I think my favorite joke about Starfield came out when the Game Award announcements came out, which is that Starfield has been nominated for the best 7 out of 10 game that could ever be 7 out of 10 or something like that. And I was like, yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
Here's the thing. I argued with Bryce last week on the podcast about this. I think the Starfield has got really good bones. I hope that Bethesda works on it, and I hope when they finish that fucking just like New Vegas, that the modding community picks it up and makes it even better, because there's plenty of scaffolding there to make a really, really fun space game.
Yeah.
It just needs work. This is not the work that it needs.
The work is not gaslighting your fans.
Yeah.
Especially like I've even seen people on Twitter be like, look, I actually like your game, and even I'm turned off by this entire thing.
Right. Like, what is the point of this? You're never gonna you're attempting to shame people into changing their mind on the internet, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, we have a lot of examples. Like, Michael and I were just talking about Elon Musk, the fucking millionaire.
God.
You can't shame that guy into changing his mind.
He got that interviewer guy's name wrong, and that was my favorite part of that entire thing. He's like, look, Jonathan, my name's Andrew.
But, yeah, so I
half expect one of those comments to be like that when he's like, look, Jonathan, if you played Starfield enough, my name's Andrew, Elon Musk. What the fuck's wrong with you?
So I really hope that this is just some rogue social media manager that nobody cares about.
I hope so.
Because I want their I mean, hey, you know what? They put DLSS in. That was like top of the list, right? They put in DLSS. Can you believe that before last week, Starfield didn't have brightness and contrast settings?
Did it really not?
They put those in, and they put in the ability to just look at a thing in the world and hit a button to eat it, as opposed to having to pick it up, put it in your inventory, become over encumbered, and eat it from there. Who knows? Maybe, I mean, I'm not really that mad at Starfield because I remember how like every Bethesda game has been fucked and broken to death when it comes out.
I'm not mad at it at all because the game actually plays fine.
Yeah.
It actually didn't have nearly. I expected to walk in and then like have my ship fly in the space from like touching it kind of thing, and that never happened. Luckily, I was just as soon as I was playing, I'm like, I'm just bored.
Yeah.
It's not even like this is interesting at first, but there's so many other games that probably have done this idea even better by now.
You know what? The problem, one of the biggest problems that I had was the fact that everything, because they expected you to keep bebopping between like places, everything had this tax of like, okay, well now go to fucking Zebulon 9 to pick up the package. And you're like, okay. So I got to walk from here back to my ship. I got to get on my ship. I got to hit the button. I got to launch my ship. I got to go into orbit. I got to hit the thing. And it's like, would it be better if I just went to my ship and just immediately teleported to the planet that I wanted to go to? I don't know, but
it was hard to tell. At least
in Skyrim, I just walked to the place that I wanted to go, and I didn't have to fucking go through all these steps.
There was one thing I started doing early on because people like were recommending to do this, because one of the things you do in the game to get to other planets is you set your coordinates and like your settings, and then it'll just auto do it.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, well, the way to make it a little more interactive, like in a way that makes it a little more fun, is to actually be like in your cockpit and just slowly aim it to where you're supposed to be going, and then set the coordinates. So it feels more like you're actually doing an actual like I'm traveling kind of thing, instead of series of menus to be like, okay, I got to go to this planet, this planet.
Yep.
So it was like, and so it actually did make it a little more interesting.
But you like make your own fun.
But
you do role play.
But I had to,
like you were playing a more fun game.
I had to pretend I was Han Solo setting a coordinate kind of thing, and that was the only reason I was having a little fun with it. And I was like, this is kind of lame.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, but Bethesda is actually not the only company with a Steam review problem this week. So apparently, so Diablo 4 came out, came on Steam. Started off negative, as generally tilted back up into like mixed with a lot of the updates they've done to the seasons. People have liked that a little bit more. So last week, or like November 23rd, the game had a free weekend on Steam, and there were a whole bunch of reviews that basically came in that said the exact same thing with like the exact same play clock, and they were all thumbs up. Now, it's not like the headline on here makes it think that like this could be Blizzard doing this.
I don't feel like it's like it would be too stupid for Blizzard to be doing it.
Yeah. Well,
it's so obvious.
Maybe. The thing is that all of these accounts have like thousands of hours on them in free-to-play games. Like none of them have like single-player games. They all have like I opened up a free-to-play game and just let it idle there to get playtime on my clock type of thing.
My theory is it's an ad agent, or it's an ad agency, that kind of thing, because that happens where they'll hire somebody, be like, look, we need to get like our numbers up, kind of thing, and then somebody's like, I got an idea, not realizing that it's easy to catch.
Yes,
because they're probably used to doing it for like companies that's not like scrutinized by people who are on the internet constantly,
right?
Because it'll just like maybe it's like a developer or something, or not a developer, like maybe they do it for like an apartment complex where they're just like, look at all these great reviews or whatever, but nobody really looks at those closely. But the people are going to look at this very closely.
The other thing that's really weird about it is that none of them they all have this person received the product for free on their...
Jesus Christ.
Like, none of them have like a purchased copy. But the thing is that you can't purchase a code for Diablo on Steam.
Wait, really?
You can gift a friend, but you can't just purchase a code. That like they literally didn't issue Steam codes for it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, okay, if you
so you would have to the only way you'd have to be able to buy it, or somebody constantly gifting it to you.
Or somebody gifting it to you. Yes. So the thought here is that this probably is what you just said. This is probably a marketing agency that is trying to create a bunch of accounts with a rep so that like they can charge other people to give them upvotes with these accounts. And this is just like prep that they're doing on a high profile thing like Diablo, because it probably started with they somehow were able to give a bunch of Steam accounts copies of Diablo, and then they were able to log them all in for X amount of time and then log out and write the exact same positive review.
What a strange thing to do.
So that it all comes up.
It's not unheard of. Like I said, this has come up before for movie stuff.
Yes,
there was that Rotten Tomatoes thing was something that happened recently where an ad agency admitted is like, yeah, we made some fake review stuff to up some stuff. And that's it sucks when it happens.
Yeah,
but it's always strange to see them still do it, even though people know it's a thing. Especially when it's blatantly like this.
Yeah, it's also really weird that it's like, okay, like we're about to talk about AI, so I'm not just trying to like generate a segue, but like you could just go to ChatGPT and be like, write a positive review for Diablo 4, and it would do it. And then you could paste it, and then you could be like, regenerate, and you could take that
just
one
over
and paste
and over
it, regenerate, take that one and paste it.
Eventually it'll start talking about how the devil had sex with him, and an A+.
Did you see that thread from the somebody posted on our Discord that was like the pizza, and it was like make it better. It was just like make it better. Oh, it's so good. I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
It starts with a pizza and it ends with a pineapple eating the universe as a pizza.
Oh my god!
Because it was just like take the previous thing and like make it better, and then so it's just like,
so I saw the image, but I didn't know what that was about.
So it started with a pizza, and when they say make it better, it put pineapple on the pizza, and then when it said make it better, it made a huge mound of pineapple, and then when it said make it better, it turned the pineapple into like a sentient thing.
Oh my god!
And then like it just kept getting more and more and more crazy.
I love that insanity. That's so stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of AI, we had an interview with my Xbox's chief financial officer, Tim Stewart, during a summit last week where they talked about AI, and specifically how AI will, because Microsoft just made a partnership with this AI company to make tools for their developers. They talk a lot about how it could be useful. This is what, Michael, I'm really torn about this because, as you know, I'm more positive towards AI, not the like shitty things that that people use it for.
Yeah, because the AI's tools features actually do have good purposes.
Yes.
It's just it's one of those instances where like somebody looks at it and goes, how do I make money out of that while screwing over some people, kind of thing.
Right.
Or instead of being like, hey, how do I help those specific people with AI tools?
Yes.
Because you've shown me some really cool stuff that helps like drawing and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
I use
people
it for
aren't
a lot
using
of
it that way.
my thumbnails on RageSelect. I use it to
Get them, lads. I'm just kidding.
Well, if what I do is I take an existing thing.
Sorry,
and
just making a joke.
I need to move something around in it, and now I can generate like. It used to be that Adobe had something called Content Aware Fill, where it would just look at everything around and it would try to figure out something to put in there, but it was always just duplicating stuff. And that worked great if it was like a background, but it didn't work very well when it was like a person's leg. Like if you guys go here, I'll give people a heads up. If you guys go to the second part of the Super Mario RPG that Michael and I did, and you look at the thumbnail of it, you'll see that there is a Mario has two legs. This screenshot actually cut off about 2 inches before the bottom of it.
Oh.
And when I used the Adobe's AI, I was able to generate this right-hand leg so that I could move him a little bit around and put him in a different location,
that's pretty
as
cool.
opposed to just having him stuck in a place.
So that's a great example of like what AI should be used as just like a small little series of edits kind of thing. Nothing too out of like you're not gonna like make entire you shouldn't try to make entire comic books out of AI is really what I'm saying.
Yeah. So part of this was him talking about localization and translation, and actually got me thinking about like, oh wow, you know what? Like AI might be able to have like a large language model might have the sophistication, because I've dealt with some translation stuff in the past, and the problem is that like you can put it into Google Translate, but if you've ever like directly put something into Google Translate that's sophisticated and then looked at what comes out the other side, it's like, okay, I understand what you were trying to say, but like everything was lost in the translation except for the literal meaning of the words. That could be useful because that means that we get games into more countries. And I know that there are people that do that for a living, but
well, what makes that one tricky is that you would have to make sure that it's translating correctly.
Sure.
Because you don't want to end up having Castlevania 2 again.
Right.
Because like that's the hard part is if you
are translating it into Chinese.
Translating something directly, for instance, you're going to get some weird fucking sentences.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going from English to Chinese and then Chinese to Japanese or something, because for all we know, these people are grabbing those and then translating the translations kind of thing.
Sure.
So you got to be very careful with something like that.
Yeah,
I get why it would help though, because it would be quick in some way, and then you could edit what comes out.
Right.
That's the hope that I'm hoping that's what they'll use those people for. Yeah. Instead of just replacing them, but that could go either way with capitalism.
Some of the stuff that they've got here, I've used ChatGPT to write scripts before. Like not like movie scripts, but like program scripts, like very
that was
simple
the thing
scripts.
A lot of people were doing early on.
Yep,
they would be like, "Hey, write me a script so my site will like have a quick flash in the back, so I'm having a sale or something."
Right,
that kind of thing.
It's good. It's good for that. Like, basically, like I just want to say that they talked about all this stuff, and the thing is that I feel like I'm stuck here, right? Where it's like corporations are like, let's fire everybody and only use AI. And then all my artist friends and like, people that care about workers' rights, they're like, let's destroy all the computers and nobody uses AI. And I'm just like, what if a person and an AI worked together to make something that was better than what either of them could do? Because then the person could go, wait, hold on, that's a dick. Don't put that in there. Put this pineapple in there instead. And the AI is like, which pineapple? I've got 10,000. And the person's like, that one right there. Yay, everybody wins.
So the funniest thing is like, I look at it that like, this is going to sound really stupid.
Yeah.
Because of the way I'm looking at it. It's like as if you're in the middle being like, what if we made RoboCop? And then the AI, the company side is like, what if we just only made Ed 209s?
Right.
And then the artist sides are like, they're all Terminators and they're all fucking coming for us.
Right.
And you're like, but RoboCop's really cool, guys.
Right.
Like when you put them together, it's actually pretty nice.
Like mankind has been fusing itself with technology since the first like caveman picked up a rock and used it to kill something. Like, come on, guys, we could make ethical AI.
We can make this work if we don't immediately either fuck over one or the other kind of thing.
Right.
That's the issue.
So I hope that I hope that Microsoft does a good job with this and is not like, now, it's Microsoft and don't trust corporations, so they're probably going to do something fucking terrible with it. But like, I'd like to give it a try because I'm tired of this just like throw this new technology away into the fire and never use it, or only use this technology and nothing else for the rest of human history. And I'm just like, why are you doing this?
It's weird. We live in such a weird black and white thing for anything.
Right.
No matter what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's either get rid of all the things or keep all the things, and it's like there's got to be moderation, guys.
Like,
I don't know why you keep going all in.
Like I like salmon. Like, oh, you like salmon? You want to eat salmon every day? You want to eat salmon for breakfast? You want to liquefy salmon? You want to drink only salmon? I'm like, no, man, just like sometimes.
They'd be really bad gamblers, is all I'm saying. A lot of people on the internet would be really bad gamblers because they're like either all in or they fold. That's all they fucking do.
Yep. Speaking of AI, did you catch the Jam Man?
I did.
Oh my God, this was amazing. So Silent Hill Ascension is the worst thing, and I love it. It's so bad that I love it. This week there was an episode where with quote the Jam Man. So like the main character is out in the forest, and like this guy just pops up, and he's like, wait, don't shoot. And they're like, what are you doing out here? He's like, I'm looking for berries. I like to make jams. And they're like, you do what? And he's like, wild berries? And he's like, yeah, man. And like, have you seen anything weird out here? And he's like, you, period. And then like an awkward pause. He's like, okay, I'm going to go back to getting my berries for the jam. And they're like, okay. And then they go back.
This is so weird.
The main character is like, let's go home. They're like, what? And they're like, I've seen enough.
Just the guy being like, I like to make jams. I sell them. You're like, what?
Maybe I can bring your family some jam later.
Like, are you sure this is a Silent Hill game?
Sorry, I didn't mean to be on your property. I'm just going to leave. And he just walks off the screen. And everybody's like, this has to be AI generated.
It has to be. There's like, and if it's not, I want the Jam Man to be in all of the Silent Hills instead of Pyramid Head.
So
the next Silent Hill movie has to have Jam Man.
So here's the thing. The company that made this talked about doing some experimentation with AI, and then they said that we decided against it because we couldn't make it work enough, that it kept getting like hung up or something stupid would happen or whatever.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This is great. I got my tight five on this. Are you ready? All my friends, like Midjourney and Dolly came out and everybody was like, this is the end of reality. We're never going to be able to tell what's real and what's not anymore because these AIs are going to make things that are indistinguishable from what a human can make. And we're all going to be living in a weird future where we never know what's real and what's a total recall. And I'm like, that's not the future. The future we're going to be living in is one where when humans do something bad, it gets blamed on AI. Like, because people can still make shit. Like, people can still make absolute garbage.
Some terrible garbage.
Now, that being said, I don't know that I believe... When you watch this clip, it's like... Okay, this either was like the worst editing job I've ever seen in my life. Like, what human would submit this work and say, I have completed the work? Like,
well, not only that, like, what human would write those exact lines,
right?
And then somebody look at it and go, this is a great idea.
Yes,
the Jam Man's going to be amazing.
The Jam Man,
and then added the Jam Man.
Yep,
programmed the Jam Man.
Yep.
And was like, and put it out in the world. Because that's the thing, Jeff, it's not a newspaper where you wrote it down and then they printed it.
Right.
There was like multiple people that had to go through the steps.
So, but the thing is that this is also, though, there's another part to this where this character is a player avatar.
Yes.
So part of this is that people can pay real money to get their avatars put into special cameo scenes, which a lot of people. Yeah, that's why it's Crimson Rain 722 as Forager.
I was wondering about that.
Which people are like, you guys really got my immersion level up there with fucking Crimson Rain 722 coming into the scene as the Jam Man.
I love the Jam Man. I love everything about the Jam Man.
So far, it's been the best thing since people. What do they say? They wanted Daddy Kojima to suck my nips or something
like that. Some insane sperm shit was going on in their thing.
Yep.
You just reminded me of one of my favorite AI images that's coming around, which is the it's like AI is going to replace us, and it's like, here's a picture of what AI thinks Duck Hunt is, and it's a picture of a dad with a shotgun in front of a TV with ducks in it. And
but there's also ducks around.
But there's also ducks in the room, and the little girl has a pistol.
And they're both smoking.
Yeah.
And they're both smoking cigarettes.
And you're like, what the fuck is this? But there's still a Nintendo in the room, which is my favorite part.
Yep. So, yeah, that's great. You guys go check out the Jam Man if you haven't already. But that's not the last of our AI stories, because we also got an AI controversy with the Naruto X Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm connections. Did you see this one?
I did, because I saw it before it became an AI story.
Oh, okay.
Because what happened was that people were arguing about dubs, and somebody was like, "Why is this dub like this?" Because there's a clip where Naruto says something. I can't remember what it was.
It's like 2 lines.
It's 2 lines,
but
he says
completely
it really fucking weird,
wrong.
And so they're like, "Why would they say it that way?" And then like a week passed, and I almost forgot about it until the Naruto voice actress came on to Twitter being like, I don't remember recording that.
Yeah.
And if I did, there's no way in hell I would have said it that way.
Right.
And then everybody started finding more voice lines, and they're like, none of these sound right.
Right. And a lot of the voice actors have come out and said, like, I do not remember recording it that way, just like you said. Now, okay, part of it, I think, sounds like somebody's snipping up dialogue and gluing it back together again. Because, like, in the one, I couldn't find that many examples, but the one example that I found, it was like one line, and then the next line was like completely wrong. It was it was in the wrong like cadence, the wrong energy. It was totally wrong. But it could be that the first line was cut, and then they got the second line, and like they cut a bunch of dialogue out, and then just brought the end part of that in, so you didn't get the natural cadence of what would cause
that's
it.
What makes it, or that's what makes the way they're talking more interesting to me.
Yeah,
because it's not like, because when you hear AI voices, a lot of the times it's like everything is a different cadence.
Yeah.
Because especially like rudimentary ones, because they're the ones people use to be like, I made Hank Hill say communism is great or something.
Right.
Because usually what it is it takes like lines that they've said and tries to either mimic it or just straight up use anytime they've said it at some point.
Yeah.
And they make it a thing where it's just like, I am the da-da-da, like that sort of thing.
Sure.
Where these, they were like, that's a normal line, and then all of a sudden it's a different normal line.
The thing
like
is,
they just don't connect.
Yeah, if it was an AI, the AI runs like a smoothing pass to try to make it sound like it's all one line.
Yes.
If this was AI, I would have expected it to sound better. Like the shit that you could use for free on the internet sounds better than what was here. So again,
that's what's so fucking weird.
Do not ascribe to AI, which can be explained by just stupid dipshittery. Yes,
somebody
exactly.
who really didn't want to pay for another recording session.
Right. Bandai Namco has come out and said that, they're not AI generated lines, and they're the result of inconsistencies in the editing / mastering process. And they're currently looking to fix it. But yes, don't
piss off your voice acting community, guys.
Don't jump to AI conclusions. Well, but like as near as I can tell, that Naruto Boruto game, everybody fucking hates it. Like,
but like, the actual voice actors themselves, they should be treated a lot better when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yeah,
because this is their work.
Sure.
Like, and so somebody could be like, I'm thinking of hiring that person, and they look at this game like, why do they sound like shit? We probably shouldn't get them because it's not reflective of their actual work.
Doesn't that just work better for Bandai Namco until they fuck their reputations? So they can only work doing Boruto lines for the rest of their life.
Well, that's all they're going to do anyways. Every time a voice actor gets into a very popular anime, that's what's mostly they're going to do. I don't know anything else Sean Schimmel does besides Goku's English voice, to be honest.
Oh, there you go.
Like, so that guy has a paycheck as long as Dragon Ball's still a thing. So,
all right,
good luck good for them, I guess.
And you know what? With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break because we are out of time, and we still are nowhere near halfway through our stories. So guess what? I've done it. Oops, I did it again. Too much podcast. I guess we'll see what happens in a minute. And we're back. Michael, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spider-Man.
So I'm kind of curious to know how you feel about this because I'm sure you already know about it. Apparently, Tony Todd was on a panel and talked about some stuff that was cut out of Spider-Man 2. One was that they did some stuff where Miles Morales might have ended up wearing the symbiote at some point.
Yeah, there was so many things that because he straight up said like they only used like 10% of what he recorded.
Yeah,
which is a lot of shit just not used.
Considering how much the symbiote isn't like silent the entire time.
Yeah,
like
he talks a lot.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's interesting to see that there's that much that got cut out of it. It makes me wonder if there was actually if they planned on having that game be longer because Spider-Man 2 kind of came in shorter than Spider-Man 1, right?
It felt like it, and especially with the fact that there's less side stuff.
Yeah,
I felt, as well as the fact that the third act kind of bum rushes to the ending.
Yeah,
because like once Spider-Man doesn't have the symbiote anymore, I felt like it just fucking hauled ass. I constantly felt like there was something missing from the way Venom's plot itself was, because I felt like we didn't even see him that much throughout that third act up until like the final fight.
Yeah, I liked it because it was like my biggest problem in video games is starting to get fatigued in the third act.
Yeah.
So the third act kicked in and it was just like even faster, and I'm like, yeah, man, yeah, let's get to it. I want to see the dramatic finale. But yeah, considering the amount of stuff that's in there, it does make me wonder, though, if some of that might get retasked into DLC or something somewhere down the line.
I'm hoping it's for that. People found a secret room.
Yeah.
For instance, that they're speculating might be a DLC room later down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about that?
I have not.
Somebody was swinging around and they found some room. Or they found like a room because normally when you look outside of a window, it's like it's obvious that you can't go inside.
Right.
They found one that you could look at like right inside.
Yeah.
And you can use the camera to go in or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then they found a way inside of the building. And it was like a bookstore, but in the back of the bookstore was like clearly some sort of ninja-looking hideout.
Oh, cool.
Of some kind of thing. And so people were speculating like, is it a Daredevil thing? Like, or is it a hand thing? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And
it's a Foot Clan.
Nobody knows so far.
It's just the Foot Clan.
Yeah,
it's the fucking Ninja Turtles DLC for Spider-Man 2.
I would be all for that. Yeah, like people are just finding random shit like that. And I think that's like, so people are like, either this is cut content or maybe it's something they'll use down the line. And after hearing that, I'm like, I kind of would like to hear some of that stuff just to see maybe they were planning some side stuff, maybe longer missions.
Sure.
I don't know. Like I felt like we didn't get enough of being able to use Venom himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a small spoiler, is that there's a sequence where you get to use Venom very early on, and I felt like, and there's a lot of concept art for moves that never showed up in the game.
Right.
So some people were speculating, like, well, maybe there was a point where you were supposed to like keep going back to Venom.
Like you're supposed to switch between all three.
Yeah.
As opposed to just the two.
Because of the way the box like were. I don't remember if it was the box or something that they said as an advertisement where they're like select like all like the. Or like or it was like it was one of those things where it's like you could play a Spider-Man and Miles Morales and Venom. Like it mentioned him as like a prominent like person you use almost.
Okay.
And so people were like, oh, does it mean like we can switch through all three? And so people were thinking maybe that was originally the idea.
That would have been cool.
Something happened or they just didn't have time, I guess.
That would have been cool if there was like a little bit of a portion before the third act started where you were able to play as Venom, and like most of the missions were for him, right? So you got to like kind of get something a little bit different out of it.
I would have loved that because Ultimate Spider-Man did a great job with that exact idea.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we'll see it in the future. Maybe it'll come back, or maybe it'll just be something that we never find out.
Or never hear.
Let's see. I didn't know that this had happened, but okay.
I didn't know this either.
So it turns out that Newverse is like the publisher for Marvel Snap, the card game, and Newverse is owned by ByteDance, the people who own TikTok. ByteDance is withdrawing from the gaming space entirely, and part of that is they're going to be shutting down Newverse. And so people have a question of like, what does that mean for Marvel Snap?
Which is crazy that this would happen to Marvel Snap of all things.
Right. So the Ben Brody, the guy, I think this is the like super enthusiastic guy from second dinner that makes it, who keeps coming out to just like, I fucking love this game and everybody should play it.
Forgot about that.
He basically came out and said, like, some of you are concerned about what's happening. Don't worry about it. We've got plans in place. We're going to keep this going. It's not going to affect Marvel Snap. It's not going to shut it down or anything. We're going to have to transition into doing our own thing. So it sounds like they're going to pick up all of the stuff from the publisher and run it themselves.
Which makes sense, because if they're just the publisher, you can just find another publisher.
Right.
As long as you have all the assets you need.
Yes.
Also, it's Marvel. Like, it's a Marvel Disney property.
Right.
And it's doing well.
And it's successful. Yes.
It's super successful. I don't see them letting it die.
Yeah.
But, I've been wrong in the past with that sort of thing.
Why would you let your Avengers Live Service game die?
Well, I was thinking of Marvel Heroes. Do you remember when that had come out?
Uh-huh.
That was doing very well, and it even made it to consoles, kind of thing, and it died a very horrible death.
Yep. So yeah, it looks like they're getting out of it, but it's still going to be fine. So yeah. Things that aren't going to be fine. Well, sort of. So we actually had a news story a few weeks back where Unity said they were basically going to cut a bunch of more people this year. They've already done 2 cuts this year.
I've done quite a few.
And they were basically preparing to cut some more people, and they're doing it. It's 265 people, and it's all the Unity Weta Digital division. Like, the entire Weta Digital division is getting cut. They were acquired, like, this division was acquired in like a little while back. It appears to be not like a core part of Unity, but like they make tools and tool assisted stuff, and then they also can work on like special effects. Apparently they did a lot of the water stuff for Avatar 2, and they also did a bunch of there's a couple of other, I looked at their website because I was like, what the fuck even is this? What am I looking at? I think they did that demo with the lady playing chess. I don't know if you were on when we talked about that.
Yeah, I remember it. I don't remember if I saw it.
Yeah, where it was like, okay. Anyway, it's a lot of tools that can be used with Unity. Like, they were basically a tool developer and doing other stuff. And yeah, they're basically axing them. But then Weta, I think this is like a separate division from like the Weta, like the main organization, is going to try to absorb as many of those personnel as possible once they're let go from Unity, which is nice considering the number of people that have just been cut loose into the fucking market over the last 2 months. So
yeah, it's a fucking God. It's got to be really difficult to get a job in the gaming world right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they don't end up at GameStop for a little bit.
So yeah, but I don't know. Unity also just seems like a fucking mess.
Oh no, they're
like a total mess.
They're a total mess. The fact that I know they did a layoff last year, but they've already done 2 before this year, and one of them was before they fucked up really hard. Yep. So it was like, yeah, you're a complete and utter fucking mess.
They also made, I think
at this point they're just staving off bankruptcy.
They said that they made something like they made $1 billion in 2022 and were not profitable.
Jesus Christ! How do you pull that off? You know how much money? $1 billion. You know how much you can buy for $1 billion? A lot.
You could buy RageSelect if you wanted. I mean, I maybe even make you a deal. If it's a cash deal, I maybe knock like 10% off. It's like 990,000. I don't even know if my math is right on that. Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
That's like maybe a percentage.
Yeah. We also had Embracer, some more shit ass Embracer news. This was 50 employees laid off from Fish Labs, who made that game Chorus, that was the outer space, like sentient ship game. And also, they basically have finalized their plans to liquidate Free Radical.
Damn.
They're looking for a buyer for it, but they have until like December 10th.
Fuck.
So like a week and a half.
It's not very long from now.
Now, I do have to say that I looked...
Phil Spencer, here's the thing. Here, just hear me out, bud.
I looked it up, and Free Radical hasn't done that much. Like,
no, the last thing I heard was they were trying to bring back Time Splitters.
Yes.
Before the other round of layoffs had.
Yes. They've had a really they've had a bunch of bad luck.
Super bad luck.
Doing games that got canceled and then starting up another thing, and then that gets canceled and they're trying to scramble to do stuff. So like we haven't actually seen a game from them in a long time. Not that I'm not like rooting for them to go under or anything.
No,
but
it's just like there's a reason why they were the one on the chopping block.
Yes.
Even if it was nothing that had nothing to do with anything they've done.
This article on PC Gamer though does point out a really interesting, or does point out something that none of the, we've seen all this shit come out of Embracer, right? We haven't seen any of like the C-suite laid off from Embracer. We haven't seen any of the executives that made these shit decisions. Like we're seeing like game studios that have been around for a long time and are well beloved by the industry getting axed left and right, and yet fucking they pointed out that like in their latest general meeting, their annual general meeting in September, Lars Wingefors, or whatever his name is, was formally quote unquote discharged from liability, meaning like he can't be personally sued for making all these fucking horrible decisions, even though from every single thing that I've read, these were his terrible decisions.
100%.
That put them in this place in the first place. It's why like I do not like Unity, and I did not like what they did, but I at least had to be like, at least fucking Riccatello got pushed out the door for that one. Like, at least some CEO lost their job, as opposed to like CEOs, because Embracer was making these decisions like crazy. They were going crazy acquisition spree. Yeah. And then they fucked up because they were counting on like a $2 billion investment from the Saudi royal family or something like that.
A single investment, by the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't like multiple investments fell through. They had one investment that they were really hoping to hit.
Yep.
That once it didn't, it fucked up everything.
Yep.
Which is such a bad business decision no matter what.
Absolutely. So yeah, I wish we'd see. In fact, actually, no, that's not true. There was a story a few weeks back. Sorry, I'm trying to get my brain together here. One of the C-suite people at Embracer Group left and created his own organization, which was not a good. This is not a good sign. Like he basically went off and like created his own like little publishing company to try to like drum up some venture capital and like get some studios to make some games. Like it seems like in a much smaller pace, where it's like this is like a guy who was like, oh, I really had a lot of belief in this, but I look at what's going on here. These are my words, by the way. This guy didn't say this.
No, but it's obvious that he's like I'm jumping ship.
Right. I'm gonna go do my own thing, and I'm not even like leaving the industry. I'm just gonna go do it. Not for this train wreck. Like, so
it says a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I at this point, it's like I just hope that like the last few things are, what Eidos, right?
Yeah.
Like they have Eidos, they have Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys were like, we escaped Square Enix, we're gonna be just fine.
Right.
And then they landed on another exploding planet, and they're like, ah, fuck.
Square Enix sold them off so they could buy NFTs, and these guys just leveraged. They bought them. They fucking got like the Lord of the Rings license. They spent the money on the Lord of the Rings license.
They got a lot of stuff for like peanuts.
Yeah.
And they still fucked up.
I don't
know how you fucking pull that off, but man, fuck you guys.
Pure skill. This is like kind of an okay story. So this week we found out that Creative Assembly, the people that were making Hyenas that got canceled, Sega is apparently going to be like, they're not like killing that studio or laying off a bunch of people. They're basically putting them back onto what they do best, which is like the Total War games.
Like what a normal person should do.
Yes. Which is about as good of a result as you could possibly have.
I think that's the best outcome they could have gotten.
Yes.
Just be like, look, guys, it's Sega being like, we fucked up.
Yeah.
And we don't want to get rid of you guys because you do make games that have sold very well for us.
Yeah.
It's just that we asked you to do something that you probably shouldn't have been doing in the first place.
Yes. Also, again, I have to ask myself, like, it's real. This is I don't know. This is I don't know. Just skip all that.
Just move past it.
Yeah. The entire gaming industry has been going like balls to the wall on live service games because up until very recently, those live service games were making a lot of money or were projected to make a lot of money. There were a few that were successful, and then they suddenly weren't because everybody finally got sick of them and were like, I want to play Baldur's Gate, not Destiny.
No.
I can't entirely blame a company for not being able to pivot fast enough to get what was happening, like to understand, oh shit, we've got 3 years of development in this MMO. Nobody wants to play MMOs anymore. What the fuck do we do?
That's the problem with game development.
Yeah.
Is that you it's impossible to pivot when your mechanics are so baked into an engine. Because when you pivot on a movie, it's very easy to pivot on a movie. You just call a bunch of people and be like, okay, we're just going to change some lines, and it'll change some stuff, and we can reshoot, and it'll maybe take like another 3 or 4 months kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas when somebody makes a game and they're like, well, I don't really want to do this anymore, you can't just be like, okay, we're just going to start the entire game from scratch because every mechanic we built into the game is based around this thing people don't like.
Yeah.
Like, that's not doable, especially if it's like, especially if you have a release date set already.
Yep.
You can't just start from scratch and expect it all to work out.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many games that came out that you can point at where you're like, that's a year's worth of work right there, and it shows. That Kong game is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, yeah, that's a year's worth of work with like a very small amount of budget, and so what do you think any other game studio can do with that amount of time? It's just not doable unless you crunched so hard that people just straight up died, kind of thing. It's just not doable. You can't pivot in gaming very easily.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at that Gangs of Sherwood thing that we played, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like that probably started development back when the entire industry somehow got it into their head that they were like, PvE games, co-op PvE games. That's what people want. That's what the people want. Like, let's make more of those. But everyone they've made has not worked. Like,
no. Left 4 Dead,
Back 4 Blood didn't work, and
and they were the ones that everyone thought was going to work.
That Hood Outlaws game didn't work.
Didn't work.
Yeah, there's been a lot of those.
We mentioned Avengers didn't work.
Yep.
Fucking Suicide Squad hasn't even come out, and it's already being savaged.
To me, I think what it comes down to is the difference between like when a developer / publisher, Redfall.
Oh God, yeah, Redfall.
When a developer / publisher demands that a studio make something that it's like, well, that'll be profitable, you should make it. Like, I think that the best games that we get are the games that studios are really excited about doing. Like, you know what? I don't play Marvel Snap, but I like the fact that every time that Marvel Snap guy comes out at some kind of conference, he's always super fucking excited to tell you guys about his Marvel game that he's making with his buddies.
Well, and it's obvious that there's a lot of love put into it, and a lot of great artists are hired for it. Because the fun thing about Marvel Snap, I'm just going to mention that real quick, is that, like, sure, you can get Spider-Man, but you can get Spider-Man with like the art from like Dan Shipp, who makes these really like fun little almost chibi like versions of them.
Sure.
Or you can get one where they're like, this is the holographic one, and they do like, and sometimes they move a little bit. Like, so you get these really cool different things, and you honestly don't have to spend a lot of money on some of those things either.
Yeah.
Which is why Marvel Snap has worked so well. It's not, you don't feel like you're getting fucked the way you would any other game.
Like anything that Blizzard has put out in the last year.
Yes, well, unfortunately, yeah.
Yep. Well, speaking of getting fucked, Destiny 2's final expansion has been pushed back.
I'm shocked, Jeff.
Yeah, they just fired like 100 people, right? So like, oh no, what are you telling me? You fired 100 people and now you don't have enough people to make your thing, your grand finale of Destiny 2?
It's funny because Jason Schreier was talking about how he had reported on a delay for, I think, the first Destiny or something. Yeah. And everyone was like, it's like, you're being stupid. He's like, no, I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. And the same thing happened with this one. Yeah. Where he's like, look, guys, this is going to get delayed. And all the Destiny people were like, no, that's, they probably worked all that stuff before they laid everybody off. And it's like, they fired the fucking composer, guys. Are you serious? Yeah. Like, this is not coming out anytime soon. Yep. And sure enough, when the news came out, he's like, I fucking told you guys.
So yeah, February 27th was originally supposed to come out. Now it's coming out June 4th of 2024. They're going to keep adding, they're adding some additional stuff and kind of stretching a few things out to cover. I don't know what to do here, or if I was them, I wouldn't know what to do, because the thing is that it's like, every month that you're not putting out your next expansion, that you delay your new expansion, your fan base is just going to be more pissed off.
Oh, 100%.
And by the time we're like, and pissed off of like, fuck you, I'm going to like stop playing this. I'm going to go play something else. Like, because there are other video games that I could be playing right now that are not Destiny, if you're just kind of doing like really small raids over and over and over again or whatever. So
you're like, I want to use Eminem in Fortnite or whatever.
Right.
So they spend their money on Fortnite instead.
Yep.
Instead of buying the fucking Carlton dance from Destiny.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but I don't think it's this. And
the solution was to make sure the game worked a year ago.
Yeah.
Before any of this happened.
that also is another. That's like the counterpoint to the thing I was saying about how like companies can't just pivot in the first place. But a lot of these companies, it's like your fan base has been yelling at you for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I know that it's no fun listening to the people yelling at you in your comments. Somebody just commented on my Gangs of Sherwood video. They were like, play a different game. And I looked it up and I was like, never. I'm never going to do it. But here's the thing. I don't employ a bunch of people. I don't have to lay people off.
It's true. They lay themselves off.
But the Destiny 2 has had issues that needed to be solved for a while, and they have not done it. Just like, meh, freaking internet yapping their mouths.
The worst part was the news coming from some of the people who got fired. They're like, we've been telling them ourselves for ages that, hey, we should probably fix these things that people are mad about. And they're like, nah. And then, of course, it fucking blew up in their face.
Yep, pretty much.
Even with all the money that Sony gave them to buy them out, they still fucked up.
Again, I haven't seen a single news story about the management of Destiny 2 resigning.
Yes, not a single news story about it.
So yeah. That's not the only bad Destiny 2 story I have.
I heard about this one.
Yeah, this week, Destiny 2, they started their season of the Wish. Season of the Wish. It's just the season of the Wish. They should put the Donovan song in there.
Maybe it's a dance emote.
And they started, they put a thing online called the Destiny 2 Starter Pack for $15. And it was 3 old guns, 3 skins, and I don't know how to interpret this, but I'm assured by this news article, like some upgrade / customization equipment that wouldn't be enough to even upgrade one piece of armor all the way to the top level.
Yeah.
At which point people were like, the Destiny community is not in a good mood.
No.
Obviously.
This just made it worse.
Yes. They were like, oh, pay to win. People were like, more like pay to lose. Like, this isn't even good enough for you to be able to play the game with your friends. Like, even if you're starting up on a new character.
Yeah, some of the stuff in there, they're just like, I can just play for an hour and get things that are better than this shit.
Right.
Like, what is wrong with you people?
Yep. So they... Somebody here, these would be login rewards in any other game. So Destiny took them down, or Bungie took them down off the website.
God, yeah, they don't know. They're trying to make quick cash.
Yep.
And they were thinking, well, maybe we can bring new people and make quick cash at the same time.
Yep.
And no, they fucked up.
What I don't understand is, I don't understand who they hire to be the marketing, like the communications teams for a lot of these places. Because like their tweet was, hey, everyone, we launched Season of the Wish yesterday and have been monitoring the conversation and what you've been enjoying and what you haven't. We'll start off with the starter pack, which is not something bringing joy. Which is why we've decided to pull it from the source. Is that a fucking Marie Kondo joke?
It is a Marie Kondo joke.
In 2023, we're well past that point in the popular culture, my friends. Like,
yeah, we've gone past it, guys.
If you want somebody to make outdated tweets based on shit that nobody's ever heard of at this point, you can hire Jeff from RageSelect. You can buy RageSelect, $1 billion. I'll make you a discount. Just I'll turn your whole shit around.
We'll sell you the RageSelect starter pack.
I'll turn your whole company around. You put me in charge, and you'll be like a slowly failing company. I will turn you into an instantly failing company. I will do it tomorrow. I'll be like, okay, step 1, delete Destiny, and like fucking let me take those drives out to the parking lot because I'm going to hit them with a hammer until they can't be restored.
It'll work fine.
All right, I'll start over from scratch and make it Kerbal Space Program.
And slap the words Destiny 3 on it.
Put some Geralt of Rivia swords on the back of the rocket. They'll buy it. 100%. They'll buy it all.
They'll buy everything.
Speaking of companies that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, Ubisoft accidentally released Beyond Good and Evil 2 Remaster. Or Beyond Good and Evil Remaster.
This is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Because how the fuck did you even do that?
So First, achievements showed up with just the straight up name of the game. So obviously all the achievement like mining websites were like, hey, but then also apparently a build of it was put on Ubisoft Plus that people could actually install and play.
That's fucking amazing. There's fucking up and there's royally fucking up.
Right. Like how doesn't it take steps to release software on your platform? Isn't there like do you guys have a
there's a lot of approvals, I assume.
Is there at least a button that says you're about to put Beyond Good and Evil on the Ubisoft Plus store? Are you sure you'd like to do that?
You sure this is a good idea, guy?
It's just one thing. Clippy comes up to be like, I see you're trying to release Beyond Good and Evil Remastered. Do you want some help with that? And you're like,
Jesus
oh shit, no,
Christ.
I wasn't trying to.
That's so amazing. I love that so much.
Yep. So yeah, apparently they put 30 minutes of it. Like some streamer got it, played it for 30 minutes, put it on YouTube. Ubisoft tried to strike it,
Proving that it was real.
They took down the thing. They kind of went on the warpath, and then they finally just gave up and announced it and said, "Yeah, okay."
That was. I guarantee you. That was supposed to be a Game Awards thing.
Almost certainly.
And somebody put in the wrong schedule.
Yep.
For all the stuff, and then that's what happened.
Yeah, it says, well, looks like the cat's out of the bag. Dag nabbit. Happy 20th anniversary to Beyond Good and Evil. While we cannot wait to show you more about the special edition, more news to come in early 2024. So
Jesus, that's probably the first tweet Beyond Good and Evil 2 has done in years.
There was one last week that I swear. Oh, it was the Last of Us PS5. I swear that was supposed to be a Game Awards reveal.
No, I guarantee you it was. Because the way people found out about it was it was some sort of, it was a store listing or something.
Yeah,
or I think it was the achievements thing. I think the achievements thing came up first. Something like that.
Something happened.
It was some specific like leak on accident that involved either a store or achievements. It was one of the two. And it was just so funny to me that happened. But that had to have been a Game Awards thing originally that just didn't fucking pan out.
It was an update to the store.
That's right. It was
a game page with a purchase page.
It was the British store too, from what I hear, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So again, somebody fucked up the timing. There's probably a schedule option that somebody fucked up. Because that came out of nowhere.
Yep. Let's see. Netflix is getting the Grand Theft Auto trilogy remastered.
Oh God.
So if you wanted to play the worst versions of Grand Theft Auto on your cellular telephone and not like a television or anything, if you've got Netflix now, you can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw a thing on here that was like they have a stat where that they released that was like only 1% of the people that have Netflix have ever tried playing the games through Netflix. And
here's
I'm like,
the thing: most people forget it's even a thing. I forget it's a thing every time until another announcement like this happens.
I would be more interested in trying it out if it was on my television. I don't want to play games on my cell. Like they're like,
well, that's the reason it's easy to forget about.
We're putting Hades on your phone. I'm like, have you played Hades? I don't want to play that on my fucking phone. Like,
fuck that.
Like Grand Theft Auto. You know how many buttons Grand Theft Auto has? I don't want to play that on my fucking phone. Like my thumbs are going to be covering up 2/3 of the display.
Exactly. I was always surprised when they would do stuff like that, release big games, and they're like, just use the digital joysticks thing. I'm like, no.
I mean, I know they have like the little cradles that have like a game controller, but then it's like, well, then I got to put another thing on my thing. Why don't I just fucking play it on my TV?
And it kills your battery.
Yeah.
Like way faster. Then why don't I just play a game on my console at that point?
Yep.
Or my Switch that's designed to play games on the go.
That's why I don't understand that shit with the iPhone where they're just like, you play Resident Evil Village on it. And I'm like, but why?
That thing's going to be really hot fucking running that thing.
Yep. Let's see. There's another story we had this week that was semi-Rockstar related. I had not been tracking this, Michael, but Dan Houser. Remember Dan Houser left after Red Dead 2?
I did.
Right?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And he created his own company, and he took a few of the people from Rockstar with him. They've announced 2 new projects, but neither of them are video games. So
that's interesting.
One is called A Better Paradise, and it is a comic that the descriptions of these are just totally fucking Dan Houser. What is where it's like let's see if I could find blah 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 blah.
There's the American Cable.
Anyway, it's all just like crime shit. But here's the weird thing: A Better Paradise is a comic book that Simon Bisley, of all people, is drawing.
Really?
Like the old Lobo guy?
That's a strange person they get.
I mean, actually, we consider Dan Houser's like writing.
I could see it.
I could see it.
Yeah.
And then the other one is American Caper, which is going to be a podcast, like an audio drama.
That's strange.
Like a multi-part audio drama. So who knows?
Dan Houser, I wish you luck. But,
yeah,
I'm also very confused.
I might listen to the audio drama. I never thought like
I'll probably read that comic if it's good.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, that's the other thing though is like, you know, Dan Houser. I feel like he's okay. The more I think about the Rockstar Games stories, it's like I liked some of the parts of the stories, but they were always a little bit too long and a little overwrought. And like,
I think the only one that I've truly or the only two that I've truly loved were the Grand Theft Auto 4 story and the first Red Dead Redemption story.
Yeah,
those both felt like they were like perfectly the length they needed to be for an open world game.
Like I did like Red Dead 2. And I thought the Red Dead 2 had a lot of balls killing off Arthur Morgan.
It did have a lot going on with it, but there's so much that like hampered it down.
Fucking 15 hours of my main guy coughing up blood and Dutch doing the exact same thing over and over again.
Oh like, my God. Why is what's happening?
And like I liked Grand Theft Auto 5 a lot, but also I remembered mostly because the Bonfireside chat guys did Grand Theft Auto 5 for Watch Out for Fireballs. They were like, oh yeah. Franklin's story was dick in that game. Like he has nothing to do. Like Michael and Trevor are like the mains in there. Like so.
Yeah, I felt like Franklin was just kind of there.
Yeah,
he was clearly supposed to be like the surrogate of just like people seeing that part of the story. But yeah.
Let's see another game development news. Not comic development news. Bloober Team has come out twice this week to try to get people to calm the fuck down. I think people got all riled up with the Jam Man earlier in Silent Hill.
They want the Jam Man in Silent Hill too.
So like Bloober Team put out a tweet where they said Konami as the publisher of the game and communication is definitely part of their job. I think this is because people are like asking them constantly like what's going on. Like people are really nervous because of how shit the new Silent Hill live stream is.
We haven't seen anything about it in ages.
Right. And they did that, and then they put out like one of those fucking tweets with the big picture.
Text.
Yeah. And it basically just says like, hey, everything is fine. We're not involved with like publicity.
Yeah.
We don't have any control over how this is marketed. That is Konami's job.
We're just working on the game, guys.
Yeah. And like there's nothing wrong and nothing is bad. It's just Konami is the one who has to deal with this, not us. So
yeah, if anything, this is probably them just being like, look, there might be something in Game Awards for all we know. Who knows?
Yep. So yeah, leave them alone. Leave Bloober Team alone. Let's see. Cult of the Lamb is getting a sex update.
I heard about this because of how they did it, and I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, what did they say? They said if they got 300,000 people to follow their Twitter account, then the next update would be the sex update.
Yeah, and they went up. I think the last time I checked, they're at 412,000.
Yep, happened real quick. This one was really confusing to me because like there was a. Okay, so it's coming next year. It's called Sins of the Flesh. Very early next year. It's got new features. Blah blah blah. There was somebody who said, who asked about like, wait, does this mean that I can't have my kid watch me play Cult of the Lamb because it's going to have a bunch of fucking in it or whatever? And they were like, don't worry, the sex update is more of a meme in the community, one some people are really running with. The age rating hopefully won't change after this update, as we made sure content adheres to guidelines. Obviously everyone is different, and I doubt you won't be able to play in front of your kids if you do already. And I was like,
I'd be surprised if you do that already, considering.
Right. I was like, are you really telling me that like what you do in Cult of the Lamb is child appropriate? You sacrifice fluffy animals to the dark gods. Like, are you kidding me?
You must have a very strange household.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's an interesting household, I guess.
I mean, I guess. Well, see, here's the thing. I don't care what you do in front of your kids, but the idea that you could do all of that.
That's where you draw the line.
But then it's like, what are there dicks in here now? Fucking what?
But yeah, you draw the line past murder.
Right.
it's that community thing. I draw like I can forgive murder, but sex is something you can forgive murder.
right. So yeah, but hey, if you're still playing Cult of the Lamb, these motherfuckers, they're really milking this one dry.
Good for them, though. Good for them.
They're putting that lamb everywhere and anywhere, and updates out the wazoos. Let's see. Speaking of updates, there's supposed to be a new update for Baldur's Gate 3 that apparently fixes an issue that came up in the last update. Yeah, so part of this was an attempt to fix you getting in trouble in Act 2. So the idea that you would do something in this place that's supposed to be on high alert, and that even if there wasn't anybody looking at you, you would suddenly just cause everything to go hostile towards you.
Yeah.
And so the fix from this was just to change the way that the game deals with crime that you do. But then what is happening was that it never ended up clearing any of the crimes it was keeping track of when you went to the next area. So they did this update, and Act 3 started getting totally fucked up for everyone. And they were like, you broke Act 3. And actually they broke the entire game. It's just that you won't be able to even do enough. But by the time you get to Act 3, you've built up such a history of everything you've done that the game is just remembering that it starts to just implode on its own fucking
database. Out you're such a terrible person that Baldur's Gate 3 was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. So it's got the world's longest memory, and apparently this was supposed to be fixed, and it was, because today, Michael, Baldur's Gate 3 on the PC went from being 100 gigabyte install to being 130 gigabyte install.
Ooh.
They added... Okay, so the first big thing is that they added an epilogue. So after the game is done, they added a full epilogue that happens like further down the line. And the thing is that people were like, oh, that'll be nice. It'll be like, this so-and-so went and did this, and so-and-so went
did
this.
Did they get Buzz Aldrin?
They recorded 3,589 new lines of dialogue for this fucking ending. Like, it has to take into account everything that you may have done over the course of the game, and apparently it's fucking huge.
That's true, and it says it's playable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like in the camp. It's like a party or something. They also added like a bunch of other stuff. I was reading through here. One of the big problems with Baldur's Gate was that you couldn't administer other characters' inventories unless they were in your party. So you had a button you could press to get the inventory of all 4 people that were in your party. But if you had other people that had the sword that you needed to give to Karlach, you had to like dismiss somebody, get them in your party, and then do that. Now you can just open up an entirely global inventory that deals with everybody, move stuff around.
Quality of life.
Yep. There's also that new it's called honor mode, where it's like you can't save, and everything is on hard, and they've even added like new things that bosses will do that are called legendary actions. This is something that happens in D&D apparently, where like big bads will have these things that they can pull off in between turns, because it's kind of unfair to have like 5 people wailing on a boss that gets 1 turn. So
it's like the big old giant explosion thing.
Yep, they've added that in. They've also added a bunch of like custom modes where you can hide the like how much do you need to roll to pass this encounter. You can even hide like seeing that your character is rolling a perception check, right? You can change it so that if you short rest, everybody gets their health back or whatever, if you want to make it easier. So all this new stuff, all this new cool stuff, which I think is really cool.
God, good for Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. I saw somebody on Twitter saying they keep fucking up their game, and I was like, you keep fucking up your life by posting on Twitter.
People just want speed run shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. They keep going. I think that in like a year or two, I'm gonna go back and replay it. But like,
it's gonna be massive by the time, I feel like, once they're fully done.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that's gonna happen based on how much they've done so far.
Yep. So yeah, check it out. It's available for download right now. And then before we get to the trailers, we got one last thing. We got some Game Awards news. First, apparently, Jeff Keighley is not amused, and they are beefing up security this year at the Game Awards. No little shit's gonna run on stage at this one.
Yeah, because the Game Awards was the first one, and then somebody, I want to say, ran up during the Summer Game Fest.
Yes, somebody tried to, and then they got like fucking taken away.
No, they did. They actually, I remember them making it on to the stage because I think it was like one or two people. I don't remember if it was Summer Game Fest or something else that he was doing, but I remember Jeff Keighley clearly being like very upset on stage.
Yes,
what had happened.
I'm pretty sure that was this year's Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, because it wasn't like a presentation of like people doing he was up on the stage doing a presentation, and then they ran up and they tried saying some shit, and then but they got up and everything. So it was a whole people were very worried that maybe they'll stop letting audiences in, kind of thing.
He I mean, the first one was was the kid going up on stage during the fucking Elden Ring Game of the Year presentation.
Yeah, he was just in the background, randomly,
and people just talked, and
and then he walked up and said some shit.
Walked up and started saying weird shit, and then got away. So
it blew my mind. I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
I for one don't think that Jeff Keighley should have to do this. I think these people suck assholes and should just leave this shit alone, man. I don't want to have to. I don't want people to have to go through metal detectors to get into the Game Awards.
Yeah, what frustrates me is the fact that he's been doing the Game Awards for a while now.
Yep.
Spike TV was still a thing when he did the Game Awards, and nothing ever happened.
Hydrobot
until this random fucking dude showed up, and then all of a sudden people were wanting to do that to more things.
It's just goes to show that once a thing is on the internet, it's ruined forever.
Yeah.
And this is why we can't have nice things. And then let's see. The other thing is he did an AMA or something on Twitch where people asked basically
about the Dave the Diver thing.
About Dave the Diver being in the indie game category. And he kind of talked a lot about he made a pretty good point, which, was well, it really just depends on how you how do you classify an indie game? And one of the things that he pointed out that was really kind of interesting was that if you look at the other games on the best debut indie game, Cocoon was published by Annapurna Interactive, Dredge was published by Team 17, because the idea here is that Dave the Diver was published by, I believe it was Nacon or something like that, or ByteDance or something. Sea of Stars is the only one that was made and published by the same studio. Viewfinder was published by Thunderful, and it's just those all had big backing as far as publishers go, which generally, if that's where you're going to make the delineation, then Dave the Diver is no less an indie than any of the rest of those games that I just listed off.
There are good points, and especially it wasn't up to him for some of the nominations either way.
True.
Because that was the other thing he mentions, is that he's hey, we have a series of juries that vote on these things, and they specifically consider it that way. So who am I to argue with my jury?
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that if you were to only let if you were only to let quote unquote pure indie games in, you'd have to take all those other games off the list, right?
Yeah.
So you just be dealing with you probably have
people would be mad that they were not on the list.
One clear favorite. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it comes down to it's that boring thing where the top 5 or 6 categories in the Academy Awards are just the exact same things over and over and over again. And you're just well, this is fucking boring.
Yeah. And so you just run into that issue. Although I would love for that to be the thing, and then they're just well, the only thing left in indie games are hentai games. I don't know what to tell you. So maybe stripper poker is now a fucking game of the year or whatever.
Maybe we do a best adult video game on Steam. So yeah. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into trailers. We had a poopy load of trailers this week, Michael. So here we go. We got a Japanese trailer for Professor Layton in the New World of Steam. This is probably the highest profile thing on this list.
It looks great. Oh, shit.
Yep. It looks really nice. They basically showed a lot of it. It was kind of showing this puzzle of trying to get into this house with a bunch of different doors that all had different kind of markings on them. And then they showed kind of identifying specific doors, and like making notes about how many of which doors there were, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, wow, that looks great. I don't want to play it at all. So
I discovered I was bad at these types of puzzle games.
Yeah.
When I did Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton, because I did all the Phoenix Wright parts like with no fucking issues. I didn't have to look up anything.
Yeah.
But every time I did a Professor Layton puzzle, I was like, I have no fucking idea what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
One of them I solved by just doing things over and over again until it was like, you figured it out. I was like, sure, I guess. Like, good job, me. I had to look up one because I sat there for like 3 hours trying to do it on my own because like, well, I'll figure this fucking thing out. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just looked up every fucking puzzle from then on.
Yep.
I was like, I'm not looking up the Phoenix Wright stuff. That's the whole reason I'm fucking here.
Hey, I love the art.
Yeah.
But I don't. This is just not my bag.
Yeah, it's not my
bag. Let's see.
That's something they should re-release, by the way. The Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton.
We got. I've been talking about this for like 3 weeks now, but we got the full Chucky's now in Dead by Daylight. So,
and this is the original movie one, right?
Well, they've got several skins. So this one shows off the kind of new Chucky, the one where he's all fucked up.
It's like current like time frame Chucky.
Yes, and then the other skin is the Bride of Chucky.
Okay, that's cool.
Jennifer Tilly character. So yeah, pretty cool.
Does it have the Mark Hamill one at all?
What do you mean?
The reboot one.
Oh, I don't think so. It's got the original, and then it's got the like scarred up one, and then it's got the.
So it's probably it's all based on the original stuff then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mark Hamill did the voice for the reboot, which I heard wasn't bad. It's just that it wasn't the same thing.
It's like a TV show.
It was an evil AI because it was like they made like an AI doll to be like it responds to your feelings and stuff.
Right.
They fucked up the AI and it was just like
Mithrigan. So it's just Mithrigan.
Kind of, yeah. It was like murder instead. So yeah, I heard it was okay.
Okay.
It just wasn't what people wanted from Chucky.
We got an 8-minute gameplay overview for Banishers. It's coming out next year. It's interesting. Apparently, there's a lot more like third-person action in Banishers than I have really seen before. Because
we weren't sure what it was going to be.
Yeah,
because it was all about like a guy seeing his dead wife as like a companion or something,
right?
And it was just like, well, what is this game supposed to be based on the trailers we had originally?
You know what I think? I think that like there was a few. Did you play The Witcher 3?
No, I wanted to. It was just like it sounded like such a task.
Right. There were a few places in The Witcher 3 where it's like, you had to solve a mystery that happens where it's like, you go talk to this guy and it's like, these guys in this place, there's like a ghost that's coming after me, and so you got to fight through these guys to get to the ghost, and then the ghost is like, that guy killed me, he's lying to you, and then you had to come up with a decision. It was always weirdly unsatisfying because there's not good guys and bad guys.
That's the thing about The Witcher.
I feel like this whole game is that. Like, they literally talk about how, like, your wife dies really early, and then you've got to, like, decide whether you're going to keep feeding her, like, soul energy to try to bring her back to life, at which point you're going to have to, like, sacrifice innocent people to do that. And I'm like, what's the incentive to doing that? Because I would just be like, no.
Like, honey, I love you, but, like, this is a terrible idea.
Right. I like the imagery, though. Everything they're showing in here looks pretty cool.
I probably will play this, though, when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm more interested in checking it out. They kind of go through one of these, like, little cases. It's like... I'm
a big fan of ghost shit.
Like, it was an abusive husband. A husband was abusing his wife, and then, like, their friend murdered him, and then they, like, ran away to the new world, and the man took on the identity of the husband, and now the ghost of the husband has caught up with them, and it's like, what are you gonna do?
Because you have to figure out whether or not the ghost is like fucking with you too.
Yeah, are you gonna like confront him? Are you gonna banish him? Are you going to like
blame somebody for their deaths?
Right, you blame one of the husband or the wife for what happened. What are you gonna do? So looks pretty good though. They also talked to the two actors that play the leads in this little gameplay overview. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm interested. Like at the very beginning, they have a lot of the story stuff. At the very beginning, they had like a a little montage of what was like fucking like God of War action, and I'm like, show me more of that, man.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how that part of the gameplay holds up.
Because Vampire was not that fun to play, but I want to know if you guys have figured it out. So, let's see. We got a release date trailer for Super Normal, which is apparently the successor to Allison Road, which was the spiritual successor to the PT demo that got shut down a long time ago. I didn't realize this was a thing.
I didn't because didn't Allison Road get shut down?
Yes,
because I didn't realize that they were doing another thing.
Yes, and apparently they are, and it's like a it looks like it's a kind of a what's the Ghost Hunter thing, Phasmophobia.
Oh, okay.
Because part of it is like you.
So I was trying to remember, like, there's so many ghost things.
Looking around this, and then like you have to talk and ask questions to the game, and then it'll like say stuff to you to try to like kind of pull you in, like give you more immersion. It looks pretty creepy. Like, I don't know, who could say? Yeah. Allison Road was so fucking long ago. PT was so fucking long ago, right? That like,
yeah. And it's a shame that we never really got anything out of those.
Yeah. I mean, as I understand it, Allison Road was more the like kind of horror inside a very realistic looking house, which we've gotten since then, as opposed to the kind of circular recursive nature of
well, that's what made that
PT.
Whole demo so fucking interesting. But
yeah.
It's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, it's coming out in January. So.
Right before my birthday.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We got the RE4 VR PSVR 2 launch trailer.
Oh,
looks great. I kind of want to get a PSVR 2. I don't know.
I've been tempted, but I'm trying to save money.
There's a lot of like.
I also thought about just buying a Meta 3.
Oh, the Quest 3.
Yeah.
I saw some stuff about that. Apparently, the pass through on that is really great now.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. The one, but
God, I just watching this trailer. This part where you're playing as Ashley, you have to stop the armor with the light. Like, just looks fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, because some people are like, I could play these Resident Evil games like with super easily. It's like, yeah, you think that until the enemies are in your face.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, this is way more terrifying to be confronted by a guy with a chainsaw when he's right in your face.
Right. Not just that, but I mean, like the fucking monsters and shit in RE4 are like horrifying. You got like Sadler running up on you and shit. Like, yeah.
And the way the game works, it's not like you don't hit a button and he reloads. Like, you have to do a lot of that shit manually.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just looking at this part at the end with the shooting gallery and being like, those things are so specific where you have to do like pinpoint aiming. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think so.
It might be doable, but like, yeah, it seems, VR games can vary on like how well I can play them.
We got some Suicide Squad, Kills Justice League files, Captain Boomerang,
Captain
Deadshot.
Boomerang, known for not using boomerangs.
Anybody? Nobody? Does anybody care? I don't know. You know what's funny is these gameplay montages, Michael. I had this thought when I was looking at this. Right, these gameplay montages are very like bombastic. It kind of reminded me of Sunset Overdrive.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people have been comparing some of the traversal stuff to.
Yeah,
because everybody was like, "Oh, I've never seen anything like it." And they're like, "I don't think you've ever seen gameplay for Sunset Overdrive before."
Like, well, what I'm wondering is if it feels really good in the hand. Maybe
I don't doubt that. That's the thing is, I don't doubt that it probably will feel good because I trust Rocksteady to make a good game.
Yeah,
I just don't like the entire rest of the idea of the game. And and also, I'm sick of Rocksteady having empty cities.
Yeah,
I'm like because I don't know if you talked about was the story vignette they did.
Yeah, you and I talked about that.
Oh yeah, we did. Sorry,
like 2 weeks ago.
Time is all fucked. But because I think I mentioned it there too, where it was just like it's like all of Metropolis is just empty because everybody's either dead or an enemy. It's like, well, that's stupid.
Yep.
Like, it's Metropolis. This place should be fucking full of people. Like, and like full of like choices to just like, are you going to help them or you can just kill them because you're a villain kind of thing.
Yeah.
Instead, it was just like, nah, everybody's just don't worry about it.
They've all been enslaved by Brainiac. Kill them. Kill them.
Yeah,
kill them.
Or they're dead. It's like, okay, I guess. Sure.
Yep. I don't know. I have some tiny glimmer, but who knows?
It could be good. Who knows?
I saw there was a gameplay demo for Tribes 3. I didn't know this was really a thing.
I didn't know that was the thing either.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Michael. It looks really boring.
No, it doesn't look very interesting.
I never played Tribes back in the old days, so I don't know if there was something about Tribes that was less boring than what I'm looking at right now.
I don't remember anything about Tribes, though, that much outside of the name.
But this looks really, really, really boring. Like, just kind of running around, like, sniping people at long distances with, like, railguns and shit. I'm just like, it looks boring. And guess what? It goes on for, like, 8 minutes. I know because I watched most of it before I almost fell asleep. So
I don't know. I'm surprised. I'm surprised by every now and then a very dormant IP will just show up randomly.
Yeah,
we're at that point where I think that might just be happening more often.
Let's see. I found this really crazy video from NCSoft called Project LLL.
Huh.
I've never heard of it before. It's very like clean and sharp. I'd be willing to bet it's probably Unreal Engine 5. And what it is it looks a lot like, and it's like a third person, kind of almost like Destiny, right? Like it kind of looks like a third person shooter, but like set in an actual world full of like, it's like alien monsters or something. And you can like drive and climb and get in helicopters and like you got all kinds of like weird laser guns and tech armor.
Did you see the thing on his shoulder there for a second?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't it remind you of anything specifically?
The ghost from Destiny? Yes.
No, the way it's it pops up and then it twists. It's like the fucking thing from Death Stranding.
Urbeck or whatever it's called. Yeah.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, none of this is in English, so I don't know what the fuck.
So we don't know what is going on, yeah.
But, like, it looks kind of cool. I don't know.
It could be. I don't know.
It's very sharp.
We've been tricked before.
We have been tricked before. But it's our job to be tricked over and over again. We don't want to become cynical.
It's true.
I don't want to become cynical. I'm cynical.
We should play that firefighter game again.
Quantum Error?
To prove that it's a good game. No,
hey,
what about to do
if
that?
we didn't play Quantum Error, then we might not have played Gangs of Sherwood, and then we might have had an okay time. We got a release date trailer for this Dark Light, which is kind of like a cyberpunk Metroidvania, which looks really cool. The only problem I have with this trailer is it's a pretty cool trailer, and it goes on for 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is way too long for this kind of montage.
That is. Holy shit.
By the time you get to about the 1 minute mark, you're done, and then it just goes for another minute and a half. So, but
it wants to let you know how cool it is.
It's coming out January 30th. It does look really cool, though.
It does look really cool.
It looks cool to play. I don't need that much trailer. You could just show me a little bit, and I'll be like, yeah, man, I'll check that out. So
my favorite part is some of the attacks he does. He just misses. He whiffs like entirely.
Yes, I would have retried that attack in order to capture a better take of it. So, yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Dead Cells a little bit, but then also Cyberpunk and yeah.
But I really liked Dead Cells once I got the Castlevania thing.
Oh yeah.
I have mostly Castlevania weapons now.
We also got the release date for a game called Cookie Cutter. Cookie Cutter is another kind of ultra-violent Metroidvania that I think actually looks a lot more interesting. It's got this really like super hand-animated style, and then it's all like incredibly bloody and violent and grotesque. And I think it looks really fun. Like
it's got a very straightforward story.
Yeah. You're like a robot that this lady made, and then they took the lady and they killed you, the robot, and now you're coming back for revenge with giant weapons and crazy fucking motorcycles and blood and guts and guitars and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, hell yeah. Love it.
Love that shit.
Love it. Let's see. And then our last trailer, we kind of talked about already. They put out an official trailer for Lethal Company this week.
It's so much fun, guys. It really is. And it's so simple too.
Yeah. Is there somebody, is there like a person that plays as an imposter, or is it just like a PvE
No, you're just a bunch of guys who are hired to collect scrap.
Okay.
And then you just go to like different procedurally generated worlds, and you go inside of a procedurally generated like building.
Yeah.
And you just run into monsters and shit.
Oh, okay.
And if you stay out there too long, like you'll go outside and there'll be monsters outside. Or if you're in a safe room or a safe building, if you stay in the safe building too long, monsters might start showing up, kind of thing. So you just have to collect scrap, bring it back to the ship, and you have to meet a quota. Like you have to sell. You have because there's a point like where it shows where he drops stuff in front of like a window, and you just put that stuff there. You ring a bell, and then you run away from it, and then like this tentacle thing will just grab what you got. And if you stay too close to it after ringing the bell, it'll just grab you. It's fucking crazy.
Interesting.
It's really fun. And if you die, like you get charged for your death as well.
Yeah.
And so the way to avoid that is you bring your buddy's body back to the ship, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Like it's really creative, and it was all made by like one guy.
Interesting.
And he's still updating it even now.
Well, I don't know. Probably have to get it on the channel at some point.
It's a lot of fun, and I found out there is a controller support on it now.
Oh, there you go.
So I got to do that, and I died less from that since I'm better at that than keyboard.
Among Us put out a huge like crossover pack.
Oh,
with like Celeste and Alien Hominid and Untitled Goose Game and
Castle
Hat in Time and
oh my God.
like a Necro Dancer, all this shit. So
that's crazy as shit.
It's kind of like their holiday thing with all these little hats. There's like what did it say? It was like it's like a bunch of them. It's 25 hats, 18 skins, 12 nameplates, 9 visors, and 6 pets.
That is a lot.
Yep. And it's like I don't remember how much it costs, but it's like it's a limited time. I think it's up until like February or something like that.
That's a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah,
I was surprised how limited the fucking Invincible thing was on Fortnite. It was like 2 days.
Oh, it's already gone?
It's already gone.
Yeah.
I was like, well, fuck, man. I was waiting until I got paid. Now it's gone.
Too late. Let's see. We might be seeing the Division Heartland soon. I know you're too excited, Michael.
I already forgot what that was. Was that the phone one?
That's the free-to-play Middle America open world one where it's like...
That was not the phone one.
The phone one is coming, I believe, later this year. But Taiwan's Digital Game Self-Regulation Committee rated the Division Heartland,
That
which usually
Taiwan.
happens like about 2 months before a game actually comes out. So
yeah, Taiwan is always the reason a lot of these things are found out. That's how we found out about the Red Dead thing.
Yep. It would make sense for them to put this out in January after the crush, but before the quarter is done to bolster sales. And
also Ubisoft needs some wins.
Yeah. Ubisoft is... I was trying to explain to I think it was my dad was asking me about Ubisoft, and I was explaining just like how shit Ubisoft is right now.
Yeah.
So.
Did you talk about last week where they announced another new release date for Skull and Bones?
I don't think so.
They announced another release date for it.
Oh.
For like March or something like
that.
And everybody was like, sure, Jan.
Yeah. I like, you call me back when it's 2 weeks before the game comes out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. You keep saying it, guys, and I don't believe you.
Yep. PlayStation Plus is got a pretty good. Sometimes I talk about this if there's little news. This time I want to talk about this because the PS Plus lineup for December is Lego 2K Drive, Power Wash Simulator, and Sable. And I think a lot of people might look at those 3 games and be like, what is this fucking garbage? Dude, Lego 2K Drive was amazing.
That game was amazing.
I loved it. Power Wash Simulator, can't stop playing. I played every single DLC that's come out, and Sable seemed okay, but not really my bag. But
I never actually looked in Sable, but yeah, those other 2 were great.
Yeah, so
like Power Wash Simulator is so relaxing too.
Plus, I cannot think of a better game to play with like your little cousins in Lego 2K Drive. Like it was so
much fun,
chaotic and hectic and colorful. And
also, there's a lot of DLC for Power Wash Simulator that's also really cool.
Hells yeah!
And some of that stuff just came out.
They just put out the Back to the Future one last week.
Yeah,
do SpongeBob SquarePants.
I know they're working on that Warhammer one still.
Yep, I'm interested. I am interested to see what that one is like. Let's see. But hey, Xbox people, you are also in luck. Did you see, Michael, that they just put Remnant 1 and Remnant 2 on Game Pass?
I saw that randomly. Just
there it is.
Nowhere.
There you go.
You're like, okay, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yep.
Good for Remnant for being. I'm very happy that Remnant has ended up becoming one of the more popular things that's like that type of game.
I felt really bad for Bryce because right after we recorded the podcast last week, he sent me a screenshot that he was installing Remnant 2. He was like, fine, I'll play it. I was like, this isn't the one I've been asking you to play, but okay.
Sure.
But then I don't think that he really plays the PC on his PC that much. He's mostly PlayStation, so I don't think it would have
he's probably fine then.
Would have been a thing, yeah. But yeah, if you haven't played Remnant 2, Remnant 2 is a big improvement over Remnant 1, and is awesome, and you should totally play it. Here's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Killer Instinct is 10th anniversary is going free to play on all the platforms.
Apparently there was an update with it too that like they did a little more, they did some more balancing on it.
Yeah,
which caught everybody the fuck off guard.
So up until very recently, you could play it for free on the Xbox, but then like it wasn't on like the PC. You could only buy it on the PC. Now you can do the free to play version there. The main thing is that you can no longer a la carte buy stuff. Characters. You can only now just pay $30 to upgrade to this new edition that has everything unlocked.
And that's because everything's done now.
Yeah.
One of the nerfs. One of the people that got nerfed was the Battletoad.
Oh,
the Battletoad apparently was like really strong.
Yeah. There's a couple of things that are not currently that are in that used to be in the definitive edition. There was a concept art and soundtrack and KI 1 and 2 that are not in the new like Ultimate Edition or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So if you had those from the old version, you can still download them, but you can't buy them again. So. In other fighting game news, this was a very weird one. Another name I've not heard in a long time, Michael. Them's Fighting Herds is basically completing, and they're going to stop working on it. This is important because they had like a story mode for it, and they only had the first chapter done. And so they are not going to be doing any of the rest of the chapters.
That's disappointing.
And they kind of said like, well, this was an experiment and we worked on it, but like we're not going to be able to complete it.
If they're not satisfied with it, that's fine. Yeah, as long as the rest of the gameplay is fine. Yeah, that's just probably disappointing for anybody who was looking forward to that.
Yeah, there was some mention.
I honestly didn't even know it had one.
Yeah, it's like a JRPG, except when you get in a battle, that it's
that's where they fucked up.
A 2D fighting thing.
They tried being experimental with it.
Yeah,
they should have just made it straightforward, and then they fought each other after saying some stuff to each other.
Right. I mean, plus, them's Fighting Herds. I don't feel is like. This isn't a thing you can rely on the sales from this for very long. Like you got a year and change. So,
like I'm glad they were able to get past their My Little Pony roots because that was the thing they originally wanted to make, but they were told no, that's illegal.
Too true.
So good for them for making it work.
Let's see. Did you see these Pokemon National Geographic things?
I heard about it, but I didn't see them.
Yeah. Somebody, let me make sure that I call this out correctly. This is from Elius Entertainment, which is a YouTube channel, ELIOUS Entertainment, that's making these like little fake National Geographic spots where they're using like what looks like either real or like Unreal Engine 5 like terrains, and then they have like Pokemon in it, and they have a voiceover that sounds a lot like Richard Attenborough.
Oh, that's fun.
Talking about the Pokemon and their natural environment. The one that everybody should watch is like, because there's a few that are pretty up front. The Magikarp is just like, it's savage. It's like Magikarp, long considered to be the worst Pokemon. It can't do shit. Like, the
Magikarp,
pretty fun. Let's see, something else that's fun. I cut the trailer, but I'll talk about the best part of it. Those Witcher skins for Destiny 2 have an emote where it's you laying down in a cyber bath.
Oh my god!
The way that Geralt is at the beginning of The Witcher 3.
That's amazing.
Where he's got his thing. You're in your full armor and you've got the like hologram water over you, but. I
appreciate when they because that's the thing is, as much as we were talking shit about the Destiny thing, they do like making fun emotes.
Sure.
And it's just that sometimes, they work out. Sometimes they don't.
Yep. Well, the fact is that, here, one, each of those Geralt skins are $20 a piece.
Oh, shit.
And two, somebody pointed out, I don't remember where it was. It might have been in the Discord. It might have been on Twitter. It might have been YouTube comments or something that like the 3 skins are for like a light, medium, and heavy armor set. And they put the heavy one on the mage, and they put the light one on like the warrior, and they put the mid one on like the guy between the two of them.
That's
like
so weird.
They made them all, and then they put them on people where like if you know that character, you'd be like, wait, why
would that be the one I would need?
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense.
So
that's so dumb.
And last but not least, I don't talk about this all that much. I love Zulie the Witch. Do you know Zulie the Witch?
No.
Zulie the Witch does like Elden Ring and Souls content. Zulie the Witch made a great video that just came out a few days ago, or by the time you hear this will be last week. So it turns out that Armored Core and Elden Ring are in the same engine, and so it's actually really easy to load assets from one into the other. So Zulie has been doing a lot of like size differentials, and part of it is because in Armored Core you're so big, it doesn't like
everything's
track.
zoomed out kind of thing.
But this video is Zulie putting the mechs from Armored Core into the world of Elden Ring next to stuff that you would know with her little avatar character, or there. I don't even know if it's a lady or I don't know what, to give you a size comparison. So that's the ice worm. That's a giant boss. They actually have a War Thunder sponsorship, which they normally don't because these are very short. But like, so yeah, they show just like they're putting these mechs inside of the world of Elden Ring, which gives you a much better sense of the scale of each one of them.
Right there,
yeah. So there's Zulie. So this is like one of the larger boss mechs, and there's her. Like,
damn,
like standing.
It
on top
really
of
does show how big those things are.
Yeah. It's especially worthwhile if you know how big like some of these environments are. Like I know that you haven't spent a billion years in Elden Ring like I have, but you can just see them like they put their own character in there for scale a lot, showing kind of how big a lot of this stuff is, which is cool. What you actually find out is that the size of a regular person in Elden Ring is about the size that a person would be in Armored Core. Like
that's so crazy.
They would fit inside of the vehicles, like the cars and trucks and stuff. Like they're about the size of what the character would be if they were in that world.
Straight up next to a castle. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's the little thing showing them down there with that's what the first boss, Juggernaut, at the top of the wall. That's the helicopter boss at the very beginning. You can see that's Zulie sitting in front of the windshield right there. This is one of the things that shows up later in the game. So, yeah, it's a fun video. Zulie's got a lot of really cool videos. Some of them are interesting and like lore related. Some of them are like this, where they're just showing like. But the big thing. I don't know if you remember the big thing at the end. Since we're about to wrap it up. The Strider. So that's the first.
Oh my God.
That's Baltius. That's Radon. But you remember the Strider, that giant thing that you. Scale like that is by far like one of the biggest things that they've ever done. So at the very end they put the Strider next to like the entire map.
Oh my God,
tree. Like it's very large.
Jesus Christ.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Yeah, go check out Zulie the Witch's videos. They are awesome.
It looks like it cut down the tree.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I went back and started replaying Armored Core 6 and I'm just like
So what'd you do now that the shotguns were nerfed?
Well, I haven't even got to the part like you only get those shotguns like halfway through the game. So I know how to play the first half of the game without using them. So, and it turns out that when they nerfed the shotguns, they powered up a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll use that other stuff. I don't mind.
Oh, that's good.
So, and that is the podcast for this week. Hey, we only went 12 minutes over. That is not bad.
That is pretty good.
Not bad at all. Michael, tell them where they can find you. We're now over here helping me go through all the news.
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie and television reviews. I should have a review up for Wish at the moment, and I know they're working on the Iron Claw one if that one isn't out yet.
Okay. And yeah, I forgot what I was going to say because I want to go play Armored Core. Patreon.com/RageSelect. 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 You know what it is. Go help us out. Kick us some bucks. Get some bonus videos. Come to Discord server, etc., etc., etc.
We also are willing to sell out for $1 billion.
That's right. And if you give me $1 billion, I will give you this entire website. I'll give you Michael's phone number. I'll give you everybody's phone number. I don't have anybody's phone number.
You'll have to deal with Matt.
That's right.
Take that.
I'll give you Matt's phone number, and then you'll never have a moment of peace left in your life.